Jiang Fan has survived sages, angels, and the void itself. But now the weapons meant to protect him may become the chains that destroy him. If you have followed Supreme Emptiness this far, stay with the story, because every secret he has taken from his enemies is about to demand a price. In Supreme Emptiness Part 96, old debts return through blood, feathers, and a terrifying time sword. Bingxin draws closer, hidden loyalties begin to crack, and Jiang Fan prepares a trap that could either save him or expose the one weakness his enemies have been waiting for. Last time, Jiang Fan and the 9 Nether Demon Venerable were deceived once by the illusions of the great Dream Demon Venerable while in the void. He would not fall for the same trap twice. The great Dream Demon Venerable declared solemnly, "I don't trust you either." Jiang Fan grasped Liu Bingxin's shoulder and said, "Killing your son would mean forming an irreconcilable feud with a 3 Calamities realm." "Am I that foolish?" The great Dream Demon Venerable pondered for a while before finally saying, "All right, I'll trust you this once." He looked at the human cocoon beside him with some reluctance and said, "This woman is the 8-winged archangel of the northern heavenly state. Regardless of her formidable temporary realm, breakthrough law, or her flying speed that rivals the 3 Calamities realm, she is a rare combat strength in the 100 realms. Giving her to you, I'm doing you a great favor." A mist blew by, sending the human cocoon into Central Earth. Jiang Fan, cautious, didn't dare to approach and asked, "She won't break out of the cocoon and harm people, right?" The great Dream Demon Venerable replied, "Rest assured, unless the 2 9-winged great angels of the northern heavenly state intervene, they can't break this cocoon." Jiang Fan slightly relaxed, then grew anxious again. "But her mouth is sealed. How am I supposed to interrogate her for the incantation?" The great Dream Demon Venerable, annoyed, said, "Such a nuisance." A leg tendril suddenly severed from his right side, falling from his body. "This is my leg tendril. It can cut open the cocoon. But be cautious. If you cut too much, she might have a chance to break out. At that time, you'll find no escape from her pursuit." It's easy to imagine how furious an 8-winged archangel would be if treated like this once she gets free. She might very well devour Jiang Fan alive. As the tendril floated into Central Earth, Jiang Fan stored it in a jade box before feeling at ease. Glancing at Liu Bingxin, whom he had pinned down, Jiang Fan beamed, "Young Master Liu, my apologies for this past month. We don't truly know each other until we've crossed swords. I hope we meet again in the future." Liu Bingxin, with a solemn face, dared not speak. He could feel that Jiang Fan was a different person now, possessing unrivaled divinity transformation realm strength akin to young Master Xiang. Thus, he chose to temporarily bear this humiliation. He would consider seeking trouble with Jiang Fan once he breaks through to Demon Emperor. Jiang Fan saw through his thoughts but felt no fear. He was no longer who he was during the ancient hunts. With a slight push, he sent Liu Bingxin out of the void. In a swift motion, a mist wrapped around Liu Bingxin, carrying him back to the great Dream Demon Venerable's side. Finally, the great Dream Demon Venerable's heart eased. He turned and glared at Jiang Fan. His eyes flickered with complex emotions. Mostly of anger, for Jiang Fan had caused him and his son significant trouble, imprisoning his son for a month, affecting plans to break through to Demon Emperor, influencing his temperament. The great Dream Demon Venerable was distracted, repeatedly threatened, and faced danger. Who wouldn't be angry? Yet, witnessing Jiang Fan navigate amongst the sages across the realms, rallying sages to initiate the counterattack against the southern heavenly realm, and witnessing Jiang Fan repeatedly turning the tables, decisively defeating the southern heavenly realm, pioneering the restoration of the dark world. Finally, seeing him honored by the Dacian divine kingdom, becoming the first ennobled person in millennia. Such grand feats, how many in the 100 realms could achieve? To say there's no admiration would be false. In a nutshell, as an enemy, one might despise him greatly, but as an ally, the opposite rings true. He cast a deep look at Jiang Fan and snorted, "Kid, we'll meet again." Immediately, white mist rose, concealing him and Liu Bingxin. When the fog cleared, their figures were gone from the spot. Jiang Fan shrugged, closed the crack, then looked at the twisted linglong on the ground and sneered, "Traitor, let me teach you a lesson too. The more handsome a man is, the more dangerous." With that said, he took out the divine wood and unceremoniously began. Linglong rolled around in pain, unable to escape due to her restraints, nor could she shout out, 80, 80, 80. After beating her 80 times, Jiang Fan finally put away the divine wood, took out the great Dream Demon Venerable's leg tendril, and lightly cut across the human cocoon's mouth. The otherwise impenetrable cocoon silk parted easily against the tendril as if it were tofu, revealing a pair of scarlet lips. "Jiang Fan!" Now able to speak, she erupted with an insanely loud scream. Jiang Fan, caught off guard, had his ears bleeding and convulsed throughout his body. His whole body seemed to crack open from the vibrations, the pain excruciating. This was with most of her power sealed within the cocoon. One could hardly imagine the outcome if she had shouted at him up close in her full glory. Probably no different from getting glared at by the heaven burial saint beast. Furious, Jiang Fan took out a large, dark, thick radish and stuffed it into her mouth, filling it completely. "Shut up!" Jiang Fan cast the second domain spell on himself, healing the residual imperfections to perfection, as the intense pain gradually faded. His hearing slowly returned to normal. With a dark expression, he said, "Traitor, still not behaving in my hands. Hand over the incantation for the crystal ball, or don't blame me for being ruthless." He said this and pulled out the big black radish. Linglong, though still frantic, dared not scream anymore. She shouted in humiliation and anger, "Jiang Fan, you insult me so I won't let you off." Jiang Fan snorted, "Less talk, more incantation." Linglong gritted her silver teeth and replied decisively, "I won't say, even if you beat me to death." Jiang Fan's face subtly darkened, realizing that beings at this level wouldn't easily succumb to some torture. Suddenly, he noticed a streak of blood at the corner of Linglong's mouth, likely from wounds inflicted by the great dream demon Venerable. A thought struck Jiang Fan, and he summoned a small black whip. He had last used it on Spirit Sound's buttocks. This whip was specifically designed to restrain the angel clan's magical treasures, gifted by the Bingxin Shura Empress to punish Hua Xin. Once it absorbed a drop of the other's blood, it could strike the other's soul, causing immense pain. According to the Bingxin Shura Emperor, the pain was comparable to the divine wood. Seeing the blood at Linglong's mouth corner, Jiang Fan wiped it with the whip, erasing the blood stains. The blood stain instantly absorbed into the small whip. "What are you doing?" Linglong turned her head and scolded. Jiang Fan wiped the residual blood from Hua Xin's body off the whip with his fingers. Then, with a flick of his toe, he flipped Linglong over, making her face down and her buttocks up. "Let me introduce you to something new first." With those words, he lashed the whip across her buttocks. "Ayow!" Linglong raised her neck, letting out a prolonged scream of agony. The soul's pain and the body's shame double struck her, leaving her mortified. "Jiang Fan, ayow, ayow!" Jiang Fan whipped her 3 times in a row, satisfied at the constant wails of pain. "The effect is quite good. Next, enjoy it patiently. Whenever you're ready to speak the incantation, you won't have to suffer anymore." With a thought, he took the human cocoon Linglong into the space mirror. In the mirror at this moment, Hua Xin lay on a lounge chair, gnawing on a yin-chi radish in one hand, holding an ancient scripture in the other. She randomly sipped spiritual liquid when thirsty. "Ah, how comfortable. That Usura woman's family left, little Killin is gone too, leaving only me here. Can sleep horizontally at night, hee. Hua Xin was muttering when Jiang Fan brought in human cocoon Linglong. Seeing Hua Xin relaxing as if on vacation, he couldn't help but think of himself fighting fiercely in the southern heavenly realm. Jiang Fan was inexplicably annoyed. Why was he keeping this woman around? Besides eating and sleeping, she was useless. He couldn't help but disdainfully say, "When I have time, I'll throw you back into the hell realm." Hua Xin quickly turned over and ran joyfully to Jiang Fan to massage his shoulders. "Oh dear, you've worked hard, husband. Let me massage you." As she was massaging, she muttered nonsense behind Jiang Fan, obviously not saying anything nice. Jiang Fan waved her away and said, "Before I send you off, entertain your new companion properly." With that, he took out a large iron frame and placed it in the center of the space. Then he hung Linglong upside down on the frame, head down, feet up. Finally, he handed a small whip in front of Hua Xin. Seeing the familiar little whip, Hua Xin instinctively shivered. "Husband, I didn't run. Don't hit me." Jiang Fan shook his head and whipped the human cocoon on the buttocks. Aow Linglong let out a long scream, her beautiful body twisting and shaking violently. "Jiang Fan, you bastard, I won't. You woo-woo." Jiang Fan stuffed a large carrot into her mouth, blocking her words. Hua Xin shrunk her neck in fear, but was surprised she felt no pain. "It doesn't hurt." "Husband, did you take my essence blood out of the whip?" Jiang Fan said. "In consideration of your recent good behavior, I won't make things difficult for you temporarily." Hua Xin was overjoyed and hugged Jiang Fan's shoulders. "Husband, I love you to death. From now on, I'll listen to anything you say. I want to be your obedient and good wife." Heh, Jiang Fan sneered and pushed her away. This woman's words were even more unreliable than his. Handing the small whip into her hand, Jiang Fan said, "From today, whip her hard until she begs for mercy." Hua Xin took the small whip, nodding indifferently, clearly not taking it seriously. Jiang Fan added, "If you can make her submit, not only will I let you return to the Hell Realm, but I'll also help your soul escape from this angel's corpse." "What?" Hua Xin's eyes widened into bells, and then she curiously asked, "How will you help me escape?" Jiang Fan faintly smiled. "Naturally with the Hell Soul Bell. You've been scheming to take it from my hands to protect your soul and escape this body, haven't you?" Hua Xin grinned sheepishly. "Turns out you knew the true use of the Hell Soul Bell. But can you really help me? Activating the Hell Soul Bell for protection consumes a lot of soul power." Jiang Fan said, "Don't worry, as long as you can pry open her mouth, I'll do my best to help you escape this body. I'll leave the rest to you." With that, he left the space mirror. Hua Xin held the small whip, full of excitement. "All my patience, enduring humiliation and carrying on, has finally brought the dawn of hope. Jiang Fan, you scoundrel, when I get out, I'll imprison you in the future and torture you every day." Then, she looked at the hanging Linglong, baring her teeth. "With little Killin gone, I was worried I'd be bored. I'll use you, dead angel, to pass the time." She raised the small whip and struck Linglong's body. "Dead angel, will you talk or not? Will you talk?" With a series of rapid whippings, Linglong twisted and struggled frantically like a caterpillar thrown into a hot pan. It wasn't until Hua Xin got tired of whipping did she realize Linglong's mouth was stuffed with a big black carrot. "Oh, I forgot her mouth was blocked. Sorry, beat you for nothing, we'll start over." She pulled out the big black carrot, raised the whip to strike again. Linglong was in so much pain her head felt like it would crack, her body full of burning pain. She said shamefully, "You dead, Asura? Dare to treat me like this? I won't let you off in the future." Even when Jiang Fan whipped her, it wasn't this harsh, and as a fellow woman, Hua Xin was even more fierce. Hua Xin played with the whip and said, "Actually, I've also suffered the whip before, so I know the pain it causes. I hate Jiang Fan as much as you do." Linglong's eyes moved, her mind active, and she said, "Angel sister, since we have a common enemy, why not join forces for now? If you can find a way to untangle me from these cocoon threads, I can kill that Jiang Fan scoundrel and save you." Hua Xin seemed to consider and nodded. "The proposal is good, I thought so too. However," she suddenly grinned and raised the small whip high, "I've suffered so much under Jiang Fan, and you think you can leave without suffering? Humph, you newcomers must suffer the same rain I've endured." Snap. The crisp sound of the whip and the screams echoed in the space mirror. "Oh, will you crazy woman?" Linglong cried out with grief and indignation. "I, the dignified eight-winged archangel, have fallen to such a state, you woo-woo." She started to cry as she spoke. Hua Xin pouted. "What are you crying for? I, an Asura saint, have been tortured by him till now, and did I say anything? You, a mere eight-winged archangel, what's all the fuss about? Endure it, let me whip you first." Linglong's red lips parted wide in shock. You're an Asura saint?" Her mind went blank. Even an Asura saint captured by Jiang Fan. Before she could think further, Hua Xin's relentless whipping began again, and the screams did not cease. For a long time, Hua Xin, gasping for breath, put away the small whip, expressing contentment. That felt good. Linglong bit her teeth together, humiliated. "So now can we cooperate? Release me, and I'll help you escape." However, Hua Xin lay back on the chair, gulped some spiritual liquid, then comfortably flipped through ancient texts, saying, "Not interested in cooperating with you." You, Linglong, unwilling, continued to persuade. "Do you still want to be enslaved by him?" Without even lifting her eyelids, Hua Xin said, "Though this guy deserves 1,000 cuts, he has always been true to his word. Once he said he'd release me, help me escape this body, he'll definitely do it. As for you, I can't even trust a single feather on your body. I advise you to confess honestly, suffer less, help me free myself sooner, and Jiang Fan gets what he wants, a win-win-win situation. Don't be stubborn. Before you came, a family of 4 hated him more than you, wanted to eat his flesh, drink his blood. And what happened? Their children were either killed or fled, and the remaining ones became utterly loyal. Even the mother willingly became his concubine. You'll never escape his grasp, better to confess early." Linglong clamped her silvery teeth together and said, "I won't say. He's welcome to torture me to death." Secret chamber. Jiang Fan put away the space mirror, sighing softly. "I hope I can figure out the mantra soon." After dealing with Linglong's hidden threat next, he would address the issue of Heavenly Thunder 6 parts on himself. The white-robed skeleton and Linglong had both previously evoked this hidden danger, but he had anticipated their moves and thwarted their attempts. As long as the threat exists, it poses a great danger every day. He took out the feather that little Ru had given him, which contained a trace of the white-robed skeleton's holy blood. According to little Ru and Xianxia, absorbing the holy blood could resolve the calamity of the heavenly thunder 6 parts. If the white-robed skeleton hadn't specifically urged him to absorb this as soon as possible, he wouldn't have thought much about it. Now, however, he had to guard against it. His eyes flickered as his divine thoughts swept over the heavenly mechanism pavilion, discovering a group of angels gathered in the back mountain. They were the angel leaders returning from the war in the southern heavenly realm. In the previous battle of the divinity transformation realm, Central Earth was in a desperately disadvantageous position. With over 100 angel leaders, they became a surprise force, demonstrating a decisive power to turn the tide, and their merits were self-evident. Therefore, Jiang Fan did not intend to make things difficult for them any further. He planned to return their subsouls and set them all free, allowing them to choose their path. Back mountain. More than 80 angel leaders and 30 other angels, including little Ru, gathered in small groups, their faces filled with the joy of surviving disaster and hopes for the future. Little Ru, what are your plans next? A young and handsome male angel leader gazed at little Ru's beautiful face, asking with concern. Little Ru frowned slightly, sighing, "We're nothing more than slaves. What future can we talk about?" The male angel leader also sighed, seizing the opportunity to move closer to little Ru, saying, "Yes, now the southern heavenly realm is pacified, and we might find ourselves in a precarious position, as Jiang Fan may not reduce our servitude period as promised before the war." Little Ru frowned and said, "Don't speak of the young master that way. He is a man of his word. If you truly contributed in the war, he will definitely fulfill his promise." The male angel leader gave a sheepish smile and changed the topic. "No matter how they treat us, we must stay united. You are all alone, it will be very hard. If you encounter any trouble, come to me. I will protect you, understand?" As he spoke, he reached out to grab little Ru's hand. Little Ru swiftly evaded, sternly saying, "Senior, please be careful." The male angel leader looked around, slightly embarrassed. "Are you rejecting me?" Little Ru, feeling a bit helpless, stepped back and said, "I can't form a Tao companion with anyone else. It's for both your sake and mine." The male angel leader furrowed his brow, just as he was about to ask. An indifferent voice reverberated in the air above the back mountain. "5 Chi Angel Lord, little Ru, come to my secret chamber." Upon hearing the words, little Ru's crystal-like eyes brightened, and she hurriedly bowed. "Yes, young master." She then leapt up, flying towards Jiang Fan's secret chamber. The female 5 Chi Angel Lord flew over, grabbing her shoulder, saying, "Let me take you." Little Ru expressed gratitude. "Thank you, Senior Wen." The female 5 Chi Angel Lord named Wen Lengyu looked at her coldly and said, "Thank me later, you might not survive this." Little Ru's smile froze slightly, evasively avoiding her sharp gaze. "What does Senior Wen mean?" Wen Lengyu said. "You dare exploit Senior Jiang's ignorance of the significance of gifting a holy blood feather. You're really bold. You better pray he hasn't refined that feather. Otherwise, you won't survive what's to come." Little Ru's face changed, her mind thrown into a chaotic mess. Soon after, both arrived at Jiang Fan's secret chamber, when Lengyu respectfully kneeling on one knee. Lengyu pays respects to Senior Jiang. Little Ru knelt directly on both knees, bowing her head nervously. Little Ru greets Senior Jiang. "Oh," suddenly acting so respectful towards me. A hint of surprise flashed in Jiang Fan's eyes, but he didn't take it too seriously. He extended his hand, revealing a soul ball composed of over 100 strands of sub-souls. With a casual toss, he handed it to Wen Lengyu. "You all performed well in the battle, each earning merits. I won't trouble you any further. All sub-souls have been returned to you. Go wherever you wish." "What?" Wen Lengyu abruptly raised her head. "You are granting us freedom?" The best psychological preparation she had was for Jiang Fan to fulfill his promise, reducing their servitude period. She never expected that they would all be set free. Jiang Fan said expressionlessly, "Go back and inform your clansmen, have them ready. I'll open a void rift soon and you all may leave." Wen Lengyu became excited. The sudden freedom came too unexpectedly. Soon they would be able to fly freely in the void, and then... Wen Lengyu's smile suddenly froze. And then where could they go? Could they return to the northern heavenly state? The void is vast, but could it accommodate a group of angel leaders like them? Moreover, with the dark tide approaching, where could they possibly hide? While she was lost in thought, Jiang Fan's gaze fell upon little Ru, who was kneeling, and he took out the feather containing a trace of holy blood, his eyes deep. How long did you intend to hide the secret of the holy blood feather? Little Ru's slender frame trembled slightly, her breathing becoming heavy, shivering as she said, "Senior, do you know about it?" Jiang Fan replied indifferently, "I want you to say it yourself." Little Ru hurriedly prostrated on the ground, tears almost escaping her eyes out of fear, saying, "Please spare me, Senior, I did it out of desperation. I'm just an ordinary angel incapable of seeking a new path in the void and have no support in Central Earth, so I can only rely on you, Senior. I don't seek your affection, only your protection. I will fulfill my duties." The Senior raised his eyebrows high. "Rely? How does gifting a holy blood feather relate to relying?" When Lengyu came to her senses and noticed the confusion in Jiang Fan's features, so she explained honestly, "Senior, among the angel nobles, only partners exchange holy blood feathers." "Partners?" Jiang Fan widened his eyes, staring intently at Wen Lengyu. "Yes, Senior," Wen Lengyu continued. "Upon absorbing each other's holy blood, partners can sense each other's malicious intent. This act prevents betrayal, whether at the level of life or chastity." She paused, then looked at Little Ru weeping silently and said, "Little Ru independently gifted you the holy blood feather, signifying her loyalty without malice. I earnestly plead with Senior to pardon her deceptive intentions." Jiang Fan held the holy blood feather, stunned on the spot. His thoughts had long drifted away from the present Little Ru. Because Xianxia had also given him holy blood feathers, and there were more than 50 of them. This was something only partners could exchange, yet they shared a mentor-apprentice relationship. If Xianxia knew its true significance, she would never have gifted them. His gaze flickered as he looked at Little Ru. Is there any possibility of mistakenly giving such a holy blood feather to someone of the opposite gender? Little Ru sat up, shaking her head pitiably. Impossible. Nobility instills this knowledge in the younger generation at the appropriate age. Even without elder guidance, memories related to holy blood feathers are automatically acquired upon their awakening. There is no possibility of mistakenly gifting it to the opposite gender. Jiang Fan's eyes gradually widened, drifting into an endless daze. As it turned out, Xianxia had known all along. Jiang Fan was stunned for a long time, rubbing his brow and said, "Xianxia should just be a temporary measure. She just regards me as an uncle. It's me thinking too much." However, even he didn't believe his own words. The loyalty token given to a partner, how could it be given to another so easily? "I won't think about it. We are just uncle and nephew." Jiang Fan forcibly suppressed the myriad of thoughts in his heart, looked at Little Ru in front of him and said, "Get up, you will stay in the heavenly mechanism pavilion and act as a disciple in the pavilion. As for the holy blood feather..." After a slight pause, Jiang Fan threw the feather back. "This is your only strand of holy blood, cherish it. This girl's ancestor is the white-robed skeleton, and both sides are still in a cooperative stage. Naturally, she won't be troubled. This feather symbolizing partner loyalty he definitely couldn't accept." Little Ru held the holy blood feather in her hands weakly and said, "Master, doesn't need Little Ru's service." Jiang Fan said indifferently, "It's not your turn." Little Ru remembered the group of extremely stunning women in the heavenly mechanism pavilion and couldn't help but feel ashamed, yet she still tried. "Once the feather is plucked off, it cannot be pinned back. Master should keep it. I don't need you to be responsible." Jiang Fan's heart sank. In other words, Xianxia has completely cut off half of her martial path potential and can never recover. Little Ru continued, "Master, please take the feather. The holy blood feather is extremely rare among the angel clan. It is almost impossible to find another to suppress the heavenly thunder 6 parts." Jiang Fan suddenly had a doubt arise in his heart and asked, "Can just a strand of holy blood work?" Little Ru nodded repeatedly. "It can, one is enough." Jiang Fan frowned. Then why did Xianxia give him as many as 50 feathers? His gaze flickered and Jiang Fan asked, "What if I absorb more holy blood from the feathers?" Little Ru replied without thinking, "Then you'd be half angelic, able to continuously generate angel power, practice angel techniques, perform angel arts, and use angel treasures. By the way, your void feather robe can be continuously used." Upon hearing this, Jiang Fan understood Xianxia's intention. She knew Jiang Fan was beset by troubles, so she tried her best to enhance his strength. With a long sigh, Jiang Fan felt bitter-hearted. Xianxia's goodness, how could he repay? Looking at the holy blood feather handed back to him, Jiang Fan sighed lightly and accepted it, saying, "Is it settled now?" Little Ru showed a smile on her face once more and said, "Thank you, Master, for fulfilling." Little Ru will obey Master hereafter. If needed, Little Ru is always ready. Jiang Fan helplessly said. All right, all of you step aside. Little Ru, find the heavenly mechanism pavilion master and let him know it is by my will. He will settle you. When Lengyu, prepare with your companions, I will open the void for you all after I emerge from seclusion. Both girls respectfully withdrew and left. Jiang Fan clasped the holy blood feather from Little Ru, squeezed his fingers, and the feather turned into golden dust, leaving only a trace of holy blood weaker than a strand of hair. He opened his mouth and inhaled. The angel holy blood entered the body, and a warm sensation spread from his throat to his lungs, permeating through all 4 limbs, reaching into every inch of flesh. Beside his heart, the heavenly abyss heart that he once spent considerable effort to form, extinguished at a speed visible to the naked eye. The core of heavenly thunder 6 parts is this heart capable of storing thunder power. Only in the instant explosive state can the 6 parts unify and temporarily enhance cultivation. Now it's wasted, truly a pity. Suddenly, he discovered a faint and almost imperceptible strand of angelic holy blood integrating into the heavenly abyss heart. Could the heavenly abyss heart actually contain angelic holy blood? Sparks flickered in Jiang Fan's mind, and he couldn't help but entertain a bold thought. Can I store all the angelic holy blood in the heavenly abyss heart? When needed, trigger all the holy blood at once to unleash unprecedented holy power, just like when the 6 parts unify. His eyes became increasingly bright. Since the heavenly abyss heart could carry holy blood, why should it be wasted? It can definitely be reused, cultivated into a brand new heavenly thunder 6 parts, when thunder power and angel power will both burst forth. Moreover, since he had angelic holy blood suppressing inside, who could possibly manipulate his heavenly thunder 6 parts to control him? Thinking of this, he excitedly uttered a low shout. Collect! The heavenly abyss heart immediately pulsated. The scattered angelic holy blood throughout the body gathered toward the heavenly abyss heart. The warmth dispersed, and the previously extinguishing heavenly abyss heart restored its pulsation. Simultaneously, Jiang Fan also sensed a trace of white-robed skeletons Dao legacy within Little Ru's holy blood. Could it be that, when activating the heavenly abyss heart, he could also manifest the divine skills contained within the holy blood? Thinking of the terrifying presence of the white-robed skeleton, Jiang Fan couldn't help but feel parched and dry-mouthed. Subsequently, Jiang Fan took out Keoj's 50 feathers, absorbing the angel holy blood into the heavenly abyss heart following the modeled method. A meticulously refined blood pearl the size of a fingertip quietly lay in the heavenly abyss heart. This is over half of Keoj's martial potential. Jiang Fan regarded it with a complicated introspection. At this moment, a vaguely bright yet dark emotion emanated from the blood pearl. It was the shining eyes of a lovesick girl, the indescribable sourness, the joyful laughter of satisfaction. This is Xia Keoj's love. Just as Wen Lengyu said, exchanging holy blood feathers symbolizes loyalty between partners. Whether a partner loves or hates, it is utterly without concealment. Keoj, Jiang Fan sighed quietly. We are uncle and nephew. He lowered his head and pondered for a long time. He shook his head and took out the Dragon Abyss pill, saying, The merit assembly is about to begin. Hurry and break through the heavenly person for declines. This time, with no one to interfere, he swallowed the great pill and silently began his breakthrough. Meanwhile, the celestial troops in the southern heavenly realm rapidly returned to the central earth, eagerly anticipating the commencement of the second merit assembly. Silver Moon Venerable also returned along with the others. Moon Venerate, are you confident about entering the virtuous realm this time? He asked with hands behind his back, a confident demeanor in his words. In Moon Venerate's deep eyes, her pupils were moonlight-shaped, exuding an ethereally noble aura like an untouchable fairy from the Moon Palace. She replied indifferently, Is it that easy? Chen Silin accomplished a lot through Jiang Fan's assistance, but gathering enough merits to enter the virtuous realm, she's still quite far off. In this battle, Chen Silin fought as best as she could. However, the achievement was far below the former nameless sage, making overnight entrance into the virtuous realm almost impossible. Silver Moon Venerable smiled mysteriously. Moon Venerate, rest assured, I will assist you in entering the virtuous realm. You? Moon Venerate glanced at him with a slightly surprised look. In this battle, Silver Moon Venerable was trapped in the imperial court and made no significant achievements himself, making his own entry into the virtuous realm quite distant. How could he possibly assist her? Silver Moon Venerable said proudly. Though I didn't achieve in this instance, past merits can be converted into merit divine pearls, which I will gift to you, Moon Venerate. With your current achievements, coupled with my merit divine pearl, there's hope for impacting the virtuous realm. However, Moon Venerate, remember, the Palace Master promised that upon our simultaneous entry into the virtuous realm, that day would also be our engagement day. Surely, you wouldn't contradict the Palace Master's decree. The Moon Venerate subtly raised an eyebrow. Back then, when her soul was positioned, the Silver Moon Venerable eagerly requested the Palace Master to form a Taoist couple with her. The Palace Master strongly opposed it. The character of the Silver Moon Venerable made the Palace Master quite worried. However, the Silver Moon Venerable was the only one in the Moon Palace with the hope of breaking through to the Sage Realm, and it was difficult to reject him too bluntly. Therefore, a pact was established that both would only marry after entering Sage Realm. Back then, the Moon Venerate woke up more than a decade late, missing the opportunity to gain merit from the ancient giant war, leaving no hope of entering Sage. This was actually a delay tactic. But man proposes and heaven disposes. She couldn't reach the great venerable realm before the ancient giant war and did indeed miss the chance to gain merit. But Jiang Fan initiated a second war against the heavenly realm. She managed to successfully break through the heavenly human 5 declines before the war, thereby obtaining merit and showing hope of entering Sage. In this way, the delay tactic set by the Palace Master back then might actually be realized. Moon Venerate, what are you thinking? Reminded the Silver Moon Venerable. The Moon Venerate snapped back to reality, her eyebrows furrowing even more tightly, and replied coldly, "Let's wait until we enter Sage Realm." She felt a headache coming on. In front of her, the Silver Moon Venerable was pressing in relentlessly, while behind her, Chen Silin was ready to throw herself into Jiang Fan's arms at any moment. She was truly afraid that one day she'd wake up to find herself naked in Jiang Fan's embrace. One coveted her body, the other always wanted to erase her from her own body. Both were no good. But if she really had to choose one, she would choose Jiang Fan without hesitation. Although Jiang's methods were ruthless, he treated his people genuinely well. She was only able to return to the great venerable realm in a short time, thanks to Jiang Fan's favor toward Chen Silin. The Silver Moon Venerable was both foolish and malicious, extremely annoying. However, the Palace Master's order came first, and the matter of the marriage pact might not be up to her. At this moment, a strong wind suddenly rose, sweeping up yellow dust in the air. High above the heavenly mechanism pavilion, clouds gathered into a huge vortex, and streams of astonishing spiritual energy descended towards a secret chamber. The Moon Venerate was slightly surprised. Someone has broken through the heavenly human 4 declines. After a brief surprise, her expression returned to normal. In the past, someone breaking through the heavenly human 4 declines would be an event of rejoicing and celebration, attracting sects from all over the world to observe. Because during the era of the heavenly human 5 declines, a person breaking through to the heavenly human 4 declines could influence the power dynamics of an entire region. However, after experiencing 3 consecutive wars, many people seized the opportunity to break through. The breakthrough to the heavenly human 4 declines was no longer as prominent. Yet soon a number of familiar figures gathered at the entrance of the secret chamber from various parts of the heavenly mechanism pavilion. The heavenly mechanism pavilion master, Fairy Yunshang, True Word Venerable, Green Pearl, Gong Kei, as well as Gu Zinner, Bai Luo, Little Tiger, Rebellious Guy, and other core members of the heavenly mechanism pavilion all appeared. Excitement was evident on their faces, and their eyes were filled with anticipation. The Moon Venerate's gaze sharpened, and she said, "Could the one breaking through be Jiang Fan?" Her figure flashed, quickly surrounding the front. Other people breaking through to the heavenly human 4 declines did not interest her. But Jiang Fan breaking through to the heavenly human 4 declines was definitely a big event that would shock all Central Earth. When he was at the heavenly human 3 declines, he already had the reputation of being the #1 divinity transformation in Central Earth. What changes would occur if he broke through to the heavenly human 4 declines? As more and more people gathered, finally, amidst a scream that tore through the heavens and earth, the overwhelming pressure of the heavenly human 4 declines swept out from within the secret chamber. Wherever it passed, space showed fine cracks of void spreading out from the secret chamber center like a spider web. The Moon Venerate was astonished. Such pressure, no less than the heavenly human 5 declines? Then, the crowd was in uproar. A wisp of domains fluctuation silently surged into the sky, manifesting into a pair of translucent eyes. The gaze was solemn, sharp, and profound, with the capability to comprehend all things in the world. When it swept past, the crowd became unrest, showing strange expressions. When it swept over the moon venerate, her heart skipped a beat, as if someone had stripped her bare, searching for all her hidden weaknesses, among which several flaws in her cultivation of the Moon Palace legacy were even discovered. The moon venerate was astonished and suspicious. Is Jiang Fan's fourth domain by any chance the ability to detect weaknesses in the world? Doesn't that mean in front of him, everyone's weaknesses would be exposed? Recalling Jiang Fan's previous 3 domains, destruction, rebirth, damage, absorption, she was deeply shaken. Each of the 4 domains was more extraordinary than the last. Any divinity transformation who mastered even one of them would have a trump card to stand out among their peers. Jiang Fan alone mastered all 4. Within the same realm, there was already no one in Central Earth who could stand against Jiang Fan. As the storm subsided, Jiang Fan withdrew his domain from the sky, satisfaction gleaming in his eyes. The effect of the 4th domain far exceeded expectations. The original intention of comprehending the 4th domain was to identify deficiencies early, preventing the formation of regrets. In use, however, it could perceive deficiencies in others' bodies, Tao traditions, magic artifacts, and more. If encountered with an enemy, this would definitely be a divine artifact for defeating them. Moreover, the 4th domain had another function that outsiders could not perceive. That is, it could not only peer into deficiencies of tangible things, but could also sense the strength of relationships between people in the world. For instance, it spied on the relationship status between him and Fairy Yunshang, True Word Venerable, Green Pearl, Gong Kei. Among them, Yunshang and Green Pearl were the most perfect without defects. He could understand Yunshang, as her whole heart was with him. Green Pearl's absolute attachment to Jiang Fan could also be easily understood. And Gong Kei was next, with True Word Venerable last. This could also be understood, as Jiang Fan and Gong Kei only had one substantive relationship, which was far less compared to the former 2. True Word Venerable was easier to understand as her heart was with her father. Her full attention was not on Jiang Fan. Moreover, regarding friendships, the Pavilion Master of Heavenly Mechanism, Gu Zinner and Bai Luo, among others, were quite perfect in relationship. But the relationship with the Silver Moon Venerable was not a flaw. It was completely adjudged as an adversarial relationship, and it was a particularly deep adversarial relationship. This is the essence of the 4th domain, to detect hidden hazards early and eliminate them as soon as possible. His gaze fell on the Silver Moon Venerable, a cold glint flashing in his eyes. The Silver Moon Venerable's scalp tingled instantly. Not daring to linger around the Moon Venerate, he swiftly used his instantaneous movement to escape. While fleeing, he secretly vowed, "You scoundrel, just wait for me to enter Sage Realm and become Taoist couples with Moon Venerate." Jiang Fan's eyes flickered. Now that there were many people around, strong figures from various states were gathered at the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion, awaiting the Merit Conference. It wasn't appropriate for him to publicly hunt down the nominal heir of the Moon Palace. Run, yes, run to the Moon Palace and obediently wait for me, the new Palace Master, to arrive. At this moment, the sky trembled. The 9 Nether Demon Venerable, Ancient Zen Buddha Venerable, and other sages, leading their men, returned to Central Earth to participate in the Merit Conference. The 9 Nether Demon Venerable immediately noticed Jiang Fan's anomaly, and a hint of surprise appeared on his usually stoic face. Reached Heavenly Human 4 declines so quickly. Your breakthrough speed is an anomaly even among the 100 realms of all heavens. But no matter how fast you break through, I'm not envious. This is what you deserve. The sages present all had similar feelings. Jiang Fan had contributed far too much to Central Earth, and the dangers he experienced were countless. Even though the ancient saint helped him break through to the wise man realm on the spot, they did not envy him at all. Jiang Fan rightfully deserved such commendation. The ancient Zen Buddha Venerate pressed his hands together and said, "The second merit ceremony is about to convene, Master Jiang. You received the merit of entering sage status last time. In this ceremony, I wonder what the ancient saint Divine Steel will grant you as a reward." Upon hearing this, the sages all showed expressions of curiosity. Indeed, 2 consecutive merit wars are unparalleled in the long history of Central Earth, spanning thousands of years. Jiang Fan had already received a complete merit before even entering sagehood, so will he continue to be awarded merit in the second ceremony? Oh, Jiang Fan showed a hint of peculiarity. He hadn't truly considered this question before. But if not rewarded with merit, then what will be the reward? He began to feel a bit expectant. Looking at the sages of Central Earth mostly returning, Jiang Fan couldn't help but ask, "Everyone, may I ask where the Great Wine Sacrifice is?" Since the 9-day giant emperor had expelled the Great Wine Sacrifice, and 4 outer heaven sages beyond the boundary at the cost of sacrificing a cursed sun wheel, the Great Wine Sacrifice had disappeared without a trace. The subsequent battles have never seen its reappearance. Even when Tianji and others escaped, it was never to be seen taking action. Now that the merit ceremony was imminent, why has it not appeared? The ancient Zen Buddha venerate pressed his palms together and said, "Amitabha, Master Jiang, have you not noticed anything unusual about yourself?" Unusual. Jiang Fan carefully searched his body and found nothing abnormal. Suddenly, he instinctively touched his forehead, and his heart tightened with unease. "Has the chaotic ancient blood marquis arrived?" The blood word on his forehead was brushed with mysterious spiritual liquid by Kiki, so it no longer was locked onto by the chaotic ancient blood marquis unless in extremely close proximity. The ancient Zen Buddha venerate nodded. During the great battle, he arrived near the southern heavenly realm, spear in hand, glaring at the battlefield. To prevent you from being destroyed across realms by him, the Great Wine Sacrifice fought with him into the void, yet to return, their fate unknown. What? Jiang Fan's expression changed slightly. It hasn't been long, yet the chaotic ancient blood marquis already retempered the polluted blood spear. Fortunately, Kiki intervened to block the blood word so that the chaotic ancient blood marquis is unable to accurately locate his position across realms. Otherwise, if he appeared at a critical time, the consequences would be unimaginable. His life or death is minor, but the great battles of Central Earth would surely change again. As for the Great Wine Sacrifice, Jiang Fan's heart also hung heavy. In a clash between masters, it's often determined in a flash, yet the duel between the Great Wine Sacrifice and the chaotic ancient blood marquis lasting so long with no news, it's likely quite unfavorable. Green Pearl, Book of Life and Death. Green Pearl nodded, promptly taking out the Book of Life and Death, attempting to sketch the words Great Wine Sacrifice on it. However, bizarrely, though she was in the virtuous realm, Green Pearl's Usura power-formed brush seemed to encounter an inexplicable strange power blockade. She couldn't write a single one of these 3 words. This scene was just like before when writing Heavenly Court King. Seeing cold sweat beginning to form on Green Pearl's forehead, Jiang Fan quickly closed the Book of Life and Death, saying, "Enough!" He was secretly surprised. The Great Wine Sacrifice turned out to also be an uninvestigible forbidden existence. Recalling the scene of 9 great wine sacrifices coming together, able to form a mysterious phantom, made him even more curious about the origins of the Great Wine Sacrifice. "When I enter the void, I'll search for its whereabouts." Jiang Fan felt heavy at heart, hoping the Great Wine Sacrifice was unharmed. Soon after, once more, unusual movement came from the connecting sky-black pillar as a massive black cloud flew down. It was Red Sleeves leading 10 Usura Emperors back. She casually tossed a space storage device and a small pouch to Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan caught it. The space storage device was weighty. Looking down, what lay within was the bronze hull and the execution pen that suppressed it. Inside the pouch was a stuffed fixed seed. Jiang Fan chuckled, cupping his hands. "Thank you, Qingju Usura Emperor, for tidying this up for me." Red Sleeves waved her hands slightly, saying nonchalantly, "I'm hardly qualified to tidy things up for you. It was your new lady in the heavenly realm who did." New lady. Jiang Fan instantly understood. It was Empress Baeksu. This woman was quite thoughtful. I should send her some surplus Usura holy blood in the future. Jiang Fan looked towards Qingju and asked, "Now that the battle's over, what are your plans?" He wasn't planning to keep a group of Usura emperors stationed in Central Earth. Having used them, it was time to ask them to leave. Red Sleeves was not surprised, saying, "I'll rest for a bit, then head for the Sumeru divine prison you mentioned. As for the 10 Usura emperors, matters involving the Yellow Springs realm master, you'll need to sort them with him." Jiang Fan nodded. Qingju was indeed perceptive, understanding things without needing many words. He glanced at the 10 Usura emperors, casually setting up a barrier, releasing the space mirror, saying, "Hua Xin, talk to them yourself." The 2 sides communicated through the space mirror. The 10 Usura emperors scrutinized Jiang Fan with suspicion before opening a void rift, thereby returning to the Hell Realm. Before long, as the crowd gathered, The land and skies over Taikang State began to shimmer with faint multicolored rays. Above the heavenly mechanism pavilion, there appeared an even grander, five-colored auspicious cloud. 9 whirlpools appeared in succession, each descending a merit divine steel containing supreme majesty. Everyone in Central Earth bowed respectfully towards the divine steels. Jiang Fan's expression was also solemn. Even though it was the second time witnessing the appearance of 9 merit divine steels, it was still breathtaking. On the 9 steels, as before, the rankings for everyone began. And once again, they only listed the top 5 ranks. For the 5th rank, each of the 9 merit divine steels presented different names. Golden Scale Venerate, Ice Heart Venerate, Lianjing Venerate, Mount Qunxing Master, 10,000 Soldiers Great Venerable, Moon Venerate, and Red Demon Venerable all made the list. As leaders at the divinity transformation level, their contributions were substantial. Each of them received a merit feather the size of a palm leaf from the merit divine steels. This scene caused a stir in the audience. Such large merit feathers, even larger than the 4th place ones from the last merit ceremony. The rewards for this merit ceremony are even more bountiful. We've established an indelible merit, vanquishing the southern heavenly realm, rewards being multiplied several times is reasonable. Several of the great venerates beamed with joy. The elder venerates among them had gained some merit in the previous ancient giant war, now supplemented by the lavish additional rewards this time. Several of them had a chance to gather enough merit to enter Sage. Ling Yue Sage observed, sighing deeply, had Silver Moon adhered to the battles, the merit gained would have sufficed to enter sagehood. Yet she sought to cling to the Phoenix Dynasty Great Sage's legs, wasting opportunity in vain. Phoenix Dynasty, you meddlesome old woman insufficient for success. Next were the rankings for 4th, 3rd, and 2nd places. These mainly involved the sages in this battle. They were the key to achieving the decisive victory. The other rankings posed no issue. However, Dongfang Canyu surprisingly ranked 3rd, likely due to assisting Jiang Fan in first slaying the enemy sage. But what Jiang Fan found most absurd was that Qingjiu actually made the list. Not only Jiang Fan, but also the sages of Central Earth were bewildered. Qingjiu looked stunned, staring blankly at the words Qingjiu ranked 4th on the stone tablet. I am not someone of Central Earth, why credit me with merits? Hold on. She recalled that inexplicable first-grade imperial decree lady conferment, glaring at Jiang Fan with slight irritation. The ancient saint divine steel, could it have deemed her a bride of Central Earth? Looking again at Green Pearl, who is also ranked 4th, confirmed Red Sleeve's suspicion. Logically speaking, Green Pearl isn't from Central Earth, but because she's Jiang Fan's woman during the Great Battle, her assistance to Jiang Fan in slaying a giant emperor earned her merit as well. The ancient saint divine steel seemed to equate her with Green Pearl. Does it count even from a distance? Red Sleeves clenched their fists, feeling restless inside. A feeling of frustration grew, like expecting to eat lamb only to end up stirred up for nothing. If she actually had a real relationship with Jiang Fan and was given a title, she would reluctantly accept it. The key is, it was only from a distance, just from a distance. But to her surprise, the ancient saint divine steel bestowed her with a drop of Usura holy blood, containing hundreds of strands of blood essence. After assimilation, she would have the hope of reaching the 3 prisons Usura Emperor, which translates to a human clan's 1 calamity realm. This is an incredible opportunity in the Hell Realm that a newly ascended Usura Emperor would have no chance of obtaining. So Red Sleeves was unsure whether to be angry or grateful. Husband, why is this woman included too? Green Pearl suspiciously stared at Red Sleeves and said sourly, could it be that you have a thing with her? While pondering, Jiang Fan almost spat blood and hurriedly said, I swear to the heavens, absolutely not. Green Pearl arched an eyebrow. Then it's odd, she's not from Central Earth yet has merit, unless her lover is one of our Central Earth people. Jiang Fan was slightly enlightened, muttering to himself. Qingjiu did mention having a ruthless husband, and it seems this husband is a sage from our Central Earth. Really curious, which sage is so unkind to a wise and beautiful woman like Qingjiu, even resorting to deadly measures. Buzz the 9 ancient saint divine steels trembled once more, emitting a humming sound. On the steels, the name of the first in merit appeared in unison. Jiang Fan! The atmosphere remained calm as ever, with no one astonished. Jiang Fan being first was undisputed. If someone could contest Jiang Fan for the first place, it would indeed be strange. What everyone was curious about was what reward the 9 ancient saint divine steels would offer. Would it be merit, or a magical treasure, or some astounding resource? It seemed that what could be given has only those possibilities. However, what no one expected was the simultaneous vibration of the ancient saint divine steels. From the corresponding multicolored cloud whirlpools, several differently colored pieces of crystal fell. They contained indescribable profound Tao charm, and upon their appearance, the entire Taikang state underwent a transformation. The unchanging kingly mountains surprisingly rose from the ground and began to grow. One after another, top-grade crystal mines were born out of thin air. Centered on Kingly Mountain, the spirit wood and plants grew rapidly. The spiritual energy in the world rapidly increased, and fortune descended like a waterfall. Countless lives were nurtured, and the old, weak, sick, and disabled creatures were rapidly healed. The strong present, bathed in the Tao charm, experienced unimaginable changes. Some had enhanced souls, others strengthened physiques, some were rid of hidden ailments, and some gained insights from the mysterious void. The entire world seemed to be reborn. Before the astonished gazes of everyone, the 9 fragments flew to Jiang Fan, merging into one. A head-sized, 9-colored crystal ball quietly hovered. The ancient Zen Buddha Venerable's calm eyes flashed with startling brilliance, issuing a grand and shocking ancient voice. "Dragon Ball! It's the ancient Saint Dragon Pearl!" Upon hearing this, everyone from sages to core formation realms showed dramatic changes in expression. The world-mastering artifact, controlled only by ancient saints, suppressing the 9 borders of the central Earth world. Unbelievably, it was given to Jiang Fan? No, the 9 Dragon Balls each had a corner cut off, piecing together a brand new Dragon Ball. The 9 Nether Demon Venerables' eyes were filled with shock. Since the creation of Central Earth, only ancient saints have wielded the Dragon Balls. What does it mean to create a 10th Dragon Ball as a reward for Jiang Fan? Hiss. A collective gasp swept inside and outside the heavenly mechanism pavilion. Countless strong individuals trembled all over, unwilling to voice their guesses. The ancient saints recognized Jiang Fan as the 10th saint. The entire scene plunged into a long silence. Everyone stared unblinkingly at the brand new 9-colored Dragon Ball. Starting today, Jiang Fan descends as a saint upon the world, commanding the 9 states, unifying the 4 seas. As Jiang Fan underwent divinity transformation, the words of the ancient saint of cloud desolation regarding Central Earth came true at this moment. Everyone's mind went blank. They had witnessed the birth of a new saint. After a long time, Red Sleeves was the first to regain clarity, her beautiful eyes complexly fixed on Jiang Fan. The little nascent soul who stumbled before her once now stood as the 10th saint revered by heaven and earth. This was too unreal. Jiang Fan was also deeply shocked. He had thought the ancient saint Divine Steel would bestow his merit, rewarding him with the necessary laws, soul power, resources, among others. He even considered that it might let him enter Sage on the spot, breaking the ancestor Tao's shackles. However, he never imagined it would grant him the 10th Dragon Ball. The 9 ancient saints acknowledging Jiang Fan to patrol across the Jiazhu mountains and rivers, suppressing Central Earth's fortune. His hands unsteadily cupping this symbol of ancient saint's brand new Dragon Ball. As it fell into his palms, the Dragon Ball emanated an aura of commanding all directions, governing all beings. As if a new saint had descended upon the world. Where the aura passed, the sages present all changed in color, as if facing the manifestation of a true saint. The 9 Nether Demon Venerable and ancient Zen Buddha Venerate couldn't help but bow, showing respect and awe. "We greet the 10th saint." Leng Yue Sage, Wuhan Sage, Thunder Annihilation Sage, and other sages of Central Earth all reverently bowed under the pressure. "We greet the 10th saint." Afterwards, the Divinity Transformation Realm cultivators, numbered in the tens of thousands of nascent Soul Realm cultivators, all bowed under the Saint Realm's pressure, issuing a resounding call. "We greet the 10th saint. Greet the 10th saint. Greet the 10th saint." The resounding voices shook the 9 states, radiating through the mountains and wilderness. Dacian calendar, 1st year of Central Earth, the 7th day of the 5th month. Jiang Fan, in Central Earth's Taikang state, wielded the Dragon Ball alongside the 9 saints throughout heaven and earth. Jiang Fan struggled to calm his inner turmoil, and only when the domain's chant subsided did he carefully stow away the Dragon Ball. Bowing to all directions, vanquishing the southern heavenly realm was a collective effort, not my soul's strength. Bearing the great love of the ancient saints, bestowed with the Dragon Ball's mantle, I shall persevere on behalf of Central Earth, and for all beings dedicate myself until death." Numerous fervent gazes focused on this young man. Starfire, with the body of a venerate, he ignited the flame of Central Earth. He repelled ancient giants, waged war in the Hell Realm, then again vanquished the Heavenly Realm. Ancient achievements and great feats of heaven and earth are no less than this. He deserves reverence as the 10th saint from all beings. Leng Yue sage was so excited that his cane almost fell, tremblingly saying, I bet on the right side. No, I hit the jackpot." The 10th saint is seated at the Moon Palace. It will be difficult for the palace not to prosper henceforth. Inviting Jiang Fan to become the master of the Moon Palace is truly a stroke of incredible luck. She could hardly wait to invite Jiang Fan to take charge of the Moon Palace. At this moment, the 9 ancient Saint Divine Steels returned to the auspicious clouds, and the heavenly phenomena gradually dissipated. However, the crowd gathered at the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion, unwilling to disperse, eagerly watching Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan understood that Central Earth had waited for this day for too long. Smiling, he loudly proclaimed, "Central Earth has fought 3 great battles, conquered the southern heavenly realm, and opened an era of eternal peace. This is the greatest achievement in all of history for Central Earth, and we should celebrate for 3 days, rejoicing everywhere." With a wave of his sleeve, he released countless spirit grass herbs from the medicine garden, scattering them everywhere, distributing them to the powerful cultivators present. The sages of Central Earth exchanged glances and smiled. "With Venerate Starfire being so generous, how can we remain stingy?" One by one, they materialized their resources and traveled across the 9 states, distributing their lifetimes' worth of accumulations to the beings of the world as a sign of divine providence. Taikang State, mainland Qingyun sect. A downcast young man was descending the long steps of the Qingyun sect's mountain gate. Looking back every few steps, his face was filled with reluctance. His spirit root was mediocre, not meeting the entry threshold of the Qingyun sect, and he could only return regrettably to his ordinary hometown, living out an ordinary life. Thud, a spirit pill fell, striking his forehead and then rolling to the ground. Picking it up to take a look, he found a line of small characters on the pill. "Transcend mortality pill enhances spirit root level. Holy spirit state." In a mountain range with scarce spiritual energy, a simple, newly built courtyard resided. "All right, the story of Venerate Starfire is finished." Wu Manyu closed the book with a smile. In front of her, a few adorable children of the Wang family sat on the ground, listening intently. Having heard the story of Jiang Fan, they surrounded her, shaking her with enthusiasm. Cousin, tell us more." "Yes, we haven't heard enough about your story with Venerate Starfire. I want to hear more about the great hero." Wu Manyu stroked the children's heads, her face full of affection. Yet she couldn't help but feel a twinge of loneliness in her heart. Since the grand battle in Hunyuan State, Jiang Fan was still a young venerate. Now he has left his name on the 9 steels, ventured into hell, defeated the southern heavenly realm, and become an invincible king renowned across the land. The acquaintance who once made her cry in frustration had now become an unattainable son for her to look up to. At this time, a cultivation technique suddenly fell from the sky before her. Picking it up, she gasped, "A heaven-level technique. Is there still a slim chance for my martial path to advance?" Similar scenes unfolded across the lands of Central Earth. Auspicious signs, like raindrops, nourished the lands of the 9 states, granting countless people opportunities seemingly from thin air. A true celebration across the entire world. The Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion also hosted a grand feast for 3 days. Countless heavenly treasures and exceptional wines were freely enjoyed, celebrating the unprecedented golden age of Central Earth. 2 days later, Jiang Fan returned to his secret chamber with a slight buzz from the alcohol. With a flip of his palm, 5 threads of law entangled together. These were parting gifts given to him by several friends from Jityu before their departure during the banquet. With this law, he could refine his physique once more and cultivate the Heavenly Separation Sutra. Crunch, but before he could start cultivating, an elegant figure in apricot yellow drifted in with a quiet fragrance. It was true word venerable. She brought with her a hint of tipsiness, her face glowing like sunset, and her autumn-like eyes seemed to ripple with light. She gently closed the stone door, casually leaning beside Jiang Fan to sit. Gazing at the 5 threads of law in front of Jiang Fan, she said, "You know, after 2 idle days, you're already restless and starting to cultivate again." Jiang Fan sighed lightly. "Perhaps I've grown accustomed to a life of hurry and busyness." Turning his head to look at True Word Venerable, he was reminded of her impending departure, and Jiang Fan put away the law, drawing her closer by the shoulder. True Word Venerable rested her head on Jiang Fan's shoulder, saying, "I'll be leaving in a while." Jiang Fan remained silent. He knew True Word Venerable had come to bid farewell. With the merit conference concluded, many people would be going their separate ways. He took out the heavenly thunder stone, examining it, but True Word Venerable's jade-like hand stopped him, saying, "Don't bother giving me any more protective tools. The void feather robe you previously gifted has sufficed." Jiang Fan's voice was slightly husky. "Remember to come back." True Word Venerable nodded slightly. A warm wetness spread across Jiang Fan's shoulder. Silently, Jiang Fan held her in his arms, lowering his head to kiss the cheek wet with her tears. True Word Venerable extended her snow-white arm, taking the initiative to wrap it around Jiang Fan's neck, meeting his gaze. For a moment, in the scattered clothing, the candlelight cast the intertwined shadows of the two onto the stone wall. At dawn the next day, Jiang Fan held the exhausted True Word Venerable, playing with true white in his fingers, gazing into her slightly weary eyes, and said with a smile, "By the way, there's one question I've yet to resolve. What did Yoren say to you, to make you so afraid of her when you'd lost your memory?" True Word Venerable blushed, burrowing into his embrace. "I won't say, it's so embarrassing." Jiang Fan said, "You're about to leave and you still won't tell me." Hearing this, True Word Venerable tilted her head up, revealing eyes filled with shyness and a misty haze as she said, "But you mustn't tell anyone else, especially Xianxia." Jiang Fan nodded. True Word Venerable then stammered, "Sister Yoren said if I didn't listen, I wouldn't be allowed to serve you together with Xianxia." Jiang Fan blinked. At the time, True Word had lost her memory and seemed to imitate Xianxia, leading to a misunderstanding of three people sleeping together in a large blanket. It turns out that True Word wanted to continue the large blanket sleep together, imagining the scene of the two serving him together. One, dressed in snow-white, gentle and considerate, renowned as having immortal beauty, Xianxia. One in an apricot-yellow long dress, cool and refined, with a stunning face, True Word. The two together, what kind of ultimate enjoyment would that be? He couldn't help but sigh, "Ah, Yoren, you've ruined my plan." True Word heard this, shyly and lightly punched him. "Who wants to share a large blanket for serving you with Xianxia?" "Keep dreaming." Jiang Fan felt a wave of disappointment. Whether it's Xianxia or True Word, both are top-tier women in the world, especially with True Word's proud and aloof personality. How could she willingly serve him with another? Taking the initiative was already True Word's limit. Looking at Jiang Fan's disappointed expression, True Word felt a bit apologetic. Her red lips gently pursed. She said, "All right, I'll make you happy this time." Jiang Fan was puzzled. "How will you make me happy?" True Word sat up, feigning annoyance. "Of course, it's something you like the most." Then, bending down, burying her head deeply and lifting it again, repeating endlessly. Jiang Fan took a deep breath, slowly closing his eyes to enjoy. He didn't know how much time passed. With a popping sound, True Word sat upright, her face like a blossoming peach. "Are you satisfied now?" Jiang Fan put on a serious expression, assuming the demeanor of a sage. "Thank you, True Word." True Word was about to speak. Suddenly, a voice full of laughter came. "You have to thank me. Without my teaching, where would she have learned it?" It was Dongfang Canyu. "Ah!" True Words let out a sharp scream, flipped the blanket up, and shrank her whole body under it. Through the quilt, she spoke in a mix of shame and anger. "Senior, how can you be like this?" Jiang Fan was so shocked he shivered, hurriedly dove under the blanket, leaving only his head exposed. There were a few sparks dancing in his eyes as well. "Lecherous sage, cut it the hell out." She actually showed up uninvited at a time like this. Giggle, giggle, giggle. With a string of bell-like girlish laughter, Dongfang Canyu revealed her form. She sat on the stone stool in the room. One long jade-like leg crossed over the other, her face full of mischief. "Little Yan, back when I showed you, you were all disgusted, remember? So how'd you secretly learn it on your own?" "Ha ha ha ha." True Word Venerable curled up into a ball under the blanket, her jade-like face flushing scarlet, but she didn't dare make a sound, wishing she could find a crack in the ground to crawl into. "Heavens, this is too embarrassing." Jiang Fan's face darkened. "You dirty old hag, get out." Dongfang Canyu kept giggling. Oh my, if I hadn't trained you, how could you be enjoying little Yan's oral lesson? Instead of thanking me, you're snarling at me." Still laughing, she swayed her hips as she walked over to the stone bed. "Want me to leave? Sure. Beg me, and I'll go." Jiang Fan snapped. "I'll beg your granny." Dongfeng Canyu pointed with a smile at her left and right chest. "Which granny do you want to beg? I'll let you choose." "Fuck." Jiang Fan yanked the blanket over his face. "Can't play, totally can't play." When it came to dirty jokes, Jiang Fan was a blank sheet of paper in front of her. Dongfang Canyu covered her mouth and laughed for quite a while, then patted True Word's curled-up little butt through the blanket. All right, time to set off. True Word Venerable's eyes, misty with tears and shame, peeked out as she asked in confusion, "Set off?" Dongfang Canyu folded her arms over her chest. "I'll go with you to find your father. Or did you really think I specially came just to watch you two stir up clouds and rain?" Huh, True Word Venerable was surprised. "You're coming with me?" Dongfang Canyu shrugged. "You've accepted my transferred cultivation, so you barely count as half my disciple. How could I rest easy letting you wander the vast void alone? Your master will accompany you. And while we're at it, we'll look for a way to repair my jade paper heavenly book." Jiang Fan also poked his head out, looking surprised. So Dongfang Canyu was planning to leave Central Earth as well, and was taking True Word Venerable with her. With her watching over True Words, she'd indeed be much safer. He said seriously, "Thank you, Senior Purple Soul." Dongfang Canyu's smile was half teasing, half not. "How are you thanking me with your body? Why don't I take little Yan along too? Master and disciple double flight, just thinking about it is exciting." Jiang Fan wiped his face, suddenly looking full of worry. If True Word Venerable followed her all the way, would she get led astray? After thinking a bit, Jiang Fan handed over the 3 jade paper heavenly book pages he had. "Here, returning them to you. If you still can't repair it after wandering around outside, I'll help you think of another way." The immortal king's undying bell's artifact spirit could repair divine weapons across the world, but fixing another world artifact probably wouldn't be easy either. So Jiang Fan couldn't make any promises. Dongfang Canyu took them with a giggle. "All right then, we're heading out." True Word Venerable turned to look at Jiang Fan, wrapped her arms around his neck, lay in his arms for a brief moment, then slipped back under the blanket. When she reappeared, she was already dressed. She smiled and waved to Jiang Fan. "See you." Dongfang Canyu blew Jiang Fan a kiss, raised her hand to slice open the world's barrier, and leapt in with True Words. As the crack slowly closed, the faint sounds of their conversation drifted out in broken bits. "Little Yan, your technique is lousy, you still need more practice. Stop talking, I don't want to hear it." "Aya, I'll teach you. Next time you come back, conquer Jiang Fan completely." Listening to their fading voices echo in his ears, Jiang Fan couldn't help but smile. He was just about to get up when the mattress beside him suddenly bulged up with the outline of a girl. Half a silver-haired little head popped out. The corner of Jiang Fan's mouth twitched. "How come once you reach the Usura Emperor level, none of you like to knock anymore?" Green Pearl slid smoothly onto Jiang Fan's chest, complaining in a soft, resentful tone. "During the Heavenly Realm War, you said you'd reward me." Jiang Fan laughed. "All right, this time don't run, then." With that, he flipped over and pressed her beneath him. At that moment, Red Sleeves had already recovered from her injuries. Yesterday, she'd even been warmly invited by Yun Shang to attend a victory celebration, and truly felt the lively grand spectacle of Central Earth's Millennia event. Always fond of quiet, she wasn't very used to it. But seeing all those genuine, smiling faces and hearing the laughter, she didn't find it so annoying after all. She quietly drank her way through the whole banquet. However, there is no feast in the world that doesn't end. She had to set off for the Sumeru Divine Prison to seek the Saint Realm remains. If she could return alive, she'd most likely be able to use that holy body to claim credit from the other Shore Realm Master and shed her undercover identity. If she couldn't come back, then she'd just be buried in the Sumeru Divine Prison. After all, she was just a homeless person. Wherever she died, it was still death. Before she left, there was still one thing she wanted to do. With a thought, she appeared before Jiang Fan's secret chamber, cradling the Moon Realm fragment in her hands, murmuring, "Our fate in the end has run its course. Moon Realm back to its original owner." Ooh, out of nowhere, a loud, soaring, melodious cry came from within the secret chamber. Before Red Sleeves could react, her whole body suddenly trembled, her legs snapping shut. Her cold, bloodless face flushed red in an instant. In her wide, starry eyes, embarrassment and anger overflowed beyond control. "Jiang Fan, Green Pearl, you pair of shameless dogs." Arrow, she couldn't help but let out a light snort from her nose, her whole body gradually going soft. Taking advantage of the fact that it had just begun and she could still control her body, she quickly split open the void and dove outside it. Only then did that continuous sensation lessen a bit. But it was still there. Looking at the Moon Realm still in her hand that she hadn't yet returned, Red Sleeves fumed in shame and anger. "The Moon Realm is mine now. This is what you owe me. Feeling the changes growing more intense, she covered her mouth and hurriedly fled into the depths of the void. The next day, Green Pearl weakly pushed Jiang Fan away, frightened. All right, I don't want any more. Husband, spare me. Jiang Fan flicked her nose. All talk and no stamina. Who knows when I'll be back next time? Hearing this, Green Pearl muttered. Then we'll talk about it when you come back. I really can't take any more. Jiang Fan smiled, got dressed, and stood up. Not only was he full of energy, but even his heavenly person 4 declines cultivation had stabilized a lot during that round of clouds and rain with Green Pearl. He had a trace of Xianxia's heavenly fox bloodline in his body, after all, which could absorb the cultivation of high-tier experts. After reluctantly stroking Green Pearl's smooth cheek one last time, he used instantaneous movement to leave. As soon as he stepped out, he saw, on a nearby rooftop, a white-robed fairy sitting quietly facing the white clouds. 9 white fox tails fluttered in the wind. Seeing Jiang Fan come out, she glanced sideways at him and smiled gently. Jiang. It turned out that Fairy Xianxia had been waiting outside for him all along. He teleported over, silently sat by her side, wrapped his arm around her waist, pulling her into his embrace. Fairy Xianxia leaned against him and said, "You're going beyond the heavens, aren't you?" Jiang Fan felt affectionate in his heart. Fairy Xianxia knew everything. Yet she did not compete with True Word Venerable and Green Pearl over Jiang Fan before he left, merely embraced silently. Just like Su Yoren used to, he nodded, going to the Moon Palace and then leaving. Fairy Xianxia wrapped her arms around his waist, softly whispered, "Come back safely. Kei also asked me to pass a message not to worry about her and the child and to take better care of yourself." Pass a message. Why didn't Gong Kei come to say goodbye herself? The next moment he understood. Gong Kei didn't want to face the farewell to prevent sadness affecting the fetus. Jiang Fan kissed her forehead once and said, "You two take good care." The breeze blew, stirring their long hair, intertwining with each other. One in white as pure as snow, one in black fluttering. Like 2 jade people accompanying each other in a world of night rain. Jiang Fan quietly gazed at the familiar heavenly mechanism pavilion, filled with countless thoughts. The scenery here, the stories in this place, the people here, will be an unforgettable eternal painting in his life. No matter how far he travels, no matter how long he journeys, he will always find it hard to forget when he looks back. At this moment, a pair of man and woman also arrived side by side. The man was dressed in a sky-blue long robe, with a refined and handsome demeanor, a middle-aged man of great pride. Beside him was a middle-aged woman, still full of charm, proudly lifting her chin. Watching them arm in arm coming through the clouds, Jiang Fan was a bit taken aback. "Pavilion Master, Cayenne Land Fairy, what's this about?" The heavenly mechanism Pavilion Master chuckled lightly. "Cayenne Land and I are planning to become Tao companions." Jiang Fan suddenly stood up, showing a bit of excitement. Decades ago, Cayenne Land Fairy had deeply rooted feelings for the heavenly mechanism Pavilion Master. However, back then, the resources at the heavenly mechanism pavilion had dried up, and Cayenne Land Fairy moved far away to Taking State, while Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion Master was ordered by the old Pavilion Master to take on the mission as Pavilion Master. Thus, both sides lingered for decades. Now they have finally achieved success. Jiang Fan clasped his hands together in greeting, teasing. "Pavilion Master, if you're being forced, just blink." "Hey!" Cayenne Land Fairy exploded beside him. "Stinky boy, what do you mean? You are the champion Marquis, the 10th sage of Central Earth. Why do you still deliberately annoy me?" Jiang Fan couldn't help but laugh. "Who asked you to always want to be the Pavilion Master's wife and clean me up?" Cayenne Land Fairy ground her teeth and said fiercely, "Well, you can rest assured, I can no longer be the Pavilion Master's wife." Jiang Fan showed confusion, looking towards the heavenly mechanism Pavilion Master. The Pavilion Master smiled easily, putting down the heavy burden and said, "Now that the ancient giants are gone, my mission is complete. I plan to step down as Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion Master and let friend Xianxia manage." Jiang Fan was surprised and tried to dissuade. "Pavilion Master." The Pavilion Master waved his hand, smiling. "The future belongs to you young people. It's time for me as Pavilion Master to step aside and give way to the virtuous. I hope that in your hands, the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion will continue to reach new heights of glory." The sudden news blocked Jiang Fan's throat as if something was stuck, and his voice had a hint of choke. He had anticipated that many would leave the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion, but never had he thought the Pavilion Master would be one to leave. "Where do you plan to go then?" The Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion Master held Kyan Land Fairy's hand, smiled, and said, I often hear the Central Earth 9 provinces is endlessly scenic, yet I haven't had the chance to see it. Life is fleeting, and half has unknowingly passed. I want to take Kyan Land to explore, to see the land we have guarded for thousands of years, the homeland we have protected endlessly. A gentle breeze blew by. The two temples of the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion Master, slightly whitened, swayed and danced, while in the black hair of Kyan Land Fairy, strands of gray subtly flashed. Turns out, they've aged without noticing. Their generation has carried too much and sacrificed greatly as well. Now, with the world at peace, it's time for them to rest. Jiang Fan withdrew the intention to persuade, showed a smile, and offered his blessings. When will you marry? Kyan Land Fairy snorted. Well, do you want to give a big gift, right? Jiang Fan laughed. Of course, I'll prepare a big surprise just to annoy you again. Kyan Land Fairy stomped her foot. Tianju, control him. The Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion Master laughed. How can I control him now? Sure, on our wedding day, we'll definitely invite you. Jiang Fan cupped his hands. The Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion Master also wiped away his smile, cupping his hands. Jiang Fan, life's journey is long and the path ahead may be arduous. Take care, Jiang Fan replied. Pavilion Master, you too, take care. The Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion Master and Kyan Land Fairy walked away shoulder to shoulder, not looking back nor daring to look back. Because at this moment, in the eyes of the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion Master, tears were rolling. Fairy Yun Shang's delicate eyes filled with a mist, silently watching the Pavilion Master's figure disappear from view, whispering, An era has ended. Jiang Fan looked up at the sky. For the ancient giants, the elder generation who devoted their lives, indeed their era has ended, but his and the current sages not yet. If the dark tide is not stopped, the piece of Central Earth, hard-won over thousands of years, will vanish like a bubble in a blink. He has to keep moving forward. Seeing all the guests have left the now deserted Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion, Jiang Fan asked, Who else has gone? Yun Shang wiped her tears and replied, Red Demon Venerable has left Central Earth with Gu Zinner. Red Demon Venerable couldn't enter the sages this time and wants to seek merit outside the world. Jiang Fan smiled, recalling the stories of the master and apprentice coming to the continent Tianji Pavilion in search of top-grade crystal stones. Now, this master and apprentice are embarking on a new journey once again. Ling Shu also left with 9 Nether Demon Venerable. She asked me to tell you, she's looking forward to our promise on the grassland, Yun Shang continued. In Jiang Fan's heart arose the image of that gentle and fresh youthful girl akin to first love. The corners of his mouth showed a hint of warmth. I will try my best to keep the promise. Yun Shang also mentioned. Additionally, Hua Wang returned to the 10,000 Tribulations Holy Temple, and Jiang Wuya Sr. has taken his sword and gone to the 9 states, to act chivalrously. Liang Feiyin, Ren Guheng, Wang Chongling, the 3 former mythical prodigies of the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion, along with Chayu Demon Emperor, the 4 of them plan to team up and venture outside. Finally, Minjai Shura King, the Ice and Fire Demon Lord, and Shu Busu have all returned to their tribes and great states. Upon hearing this, Jiang Fan sighed melancholically. More than half of them want to leave or are about to. Each of them has their own paths and ideals. The era of the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion was just a part of the overlapping trajectory in their lives. He took out several void feather robes and handed them to Yun Shang, saying, Whoever wants to go to the void, give these to them. Yun Shang put them into the space storage device, clutching tightly to Jiang Fan's arm. The moment of farewell had arrived. Make sure to come back. Jiang Fan leaned down, kissed her forehead. I promise. Yun Shang released her grip, quietly saying goodbye. Jiang Fan flew away, and after traveling some distance, he turned back to look. Yun Shang still stood there, hands clasped in front of her abdomen, silently waiting until Jiang Fan could no longer see her figure. Jiang Fan felt a tinge of reluctance in his heart, but ultimately he left with regret. Not long after, he arrived at the underground palace transmission array. As soon as he reached, a blue shadow darted towards him. Upon closer inspection, it turned out to be the rebellious guy. Why are you here? Jiang Fan asked in surprise. The rebellious guy affectionately rubbed against Jiang Fan's trouser leg. Of course, I'm following Big Brother you. I love you most, Big Brother. Jiang Fan didn't bother to catch the rebellious guy's thoughts. This creature full of schemes, who knows how it secretly slanders him. Are you hoping to find fortune by staying close to me? Jiang Fan exposed its thoughts, but nonchalantly took out the space mirror. Come on. Let's see what ultimately becomes of a rebel like you." The rebellious guy was overwhelmed with joy, ignoring Jiang Fan's harsh words, and cheekily slipped into the space mirror. Jiang Fan shook his head and stepped onto the transmission array. When he reappeared, he materialized at the Central States Kinshin Bureau, raising his eyes to observe. A giant moon hung high in the sky. It was the Moon Palace. He focused his mind and teleported to the front of the Moon Palace. But before entering, a strong wave swept over like a tidal wave. The aura of a sage? Jiang Fan narrowed his eyes. Is it Leng Yue sage? No, weaker than Leng Yue sage, but more vibrant in life force. Whoosh! A figure with hands behind appeared in front of Jiang Fan, transforming from ethereal to solid. And it was the Silver Moon Venerable. Only the divine ring on the back of his head had vanished, replaced by a torrential and fierce sage aura. Jiang Fan gently raised his brows. "How did you enter the sage realm?" There was no Silver Moon Venerable name on the ancient saint divine steel this time. No contribution. Where does the merit come from? The Silver Moon Venerable stared at Jiang Fan, his eyes filled with unable to conceal pleasure. "Didn't expect, did you? Next time we meet, I'm already a sage. And you are still in the divinity transformation realm. Sage is here. Aren't you going to kneel and worship?" The endless sage pressure wantonly assaulted Jiang Fan, trying to suppress him. Jiang Fan stood with hands behind, unmoved. His gaze was so calm it didn't ripple at all. "Are you talking to me?" Five-colored radiance emerged on his surface. The oppressive sage aura vanished like a mud cow into the ocean, completely dissipating into thin air. The Silver Moon Venerable's eyes sharpened, stubbornly continuing to release sage pressure. But ultimately it was futile. Jiang Fan said evenly, "You know nothing about pressure." Divine power shook within him, the grand heavenly might flooding from Dakian's holy decree, converging behind him into a 10-foot-high, ancient-looking, imposing yellow banner. On it, the grand script of Champion Marquis danced like dragons and phoenixes. As soon as the banner appeared, the Supreme Majesty descended, intimidating all beings. The sage pressure released by the Silver Moon Venerable instantly vanished, with him being suppressed, bent at the waist and mouth uncontrollably opening. "No, I won't salute you." Under overwhelming will suppression, his resistance was meaningless. "Salute to Champion Marquis." After the Champion Marquis banner dissipated, the Silver Moon Venerable reluctantly straightened, filled with humiliating anger. "Dare you not use this banner?" Jiang Fan said indifferently. "Dare you become a Marquis?" The powerful confidence Silver Moon Venerable gained from recently entering Sage was crushed with a face-off against Jiang Fan. Comparing pressure, he couldn't surpass Jiang Fan. On the contrary, he was suppressed into bowing on sight. Clearly, he broke through to be a sage, yet standing before Jiang Fan felt like his status hasn't changed at all. Grinding his teeth, he asked in a deep voice, "Why have you come?" Jiang Fan glanced at him and said indifferently, "Do I need to explain my actions to you?" He stepped onto the Moon Palace. The Silver Moon Venerable reached out trying to block, but recalling Jiang Fan's unspeakable means showcased repeatedly in the southern heavenly realm, he dared not block anymore. Could only watch helplessly as Jiang Fan stepped onto the treasure land of the Moon Palace. "Fine, just as today Moon Venerate breaks through to Sage Realm. Watch us become Tao companions then." As Jiang Fan stepped onto the Moon Palace's land, he immediately felt transparent and utterly comfortable. The Moon Palace held considerable moonlight power. For those cultivating moonlight power, it's like martial artists entering the spiritual energy secret realm. Sweeping with divine thought, his gaze locked onto a glorious hall ahead. A towering osmanthus tree exuded rich fragrance. At this moment, Moon Palace people gathered around the giant osmanthus tree, seemingly watching something. Jiang Fan's eyes flashed and he stepped forward. Everyone was startled and came up to greet him. "Salute to Starfarer Venerable." Jiang Fan, renowned worldwide today, who does not recognize him, and how many do not admire him. Jiang Fan walked through the crowd to the osmanthus tree. He saw a woman dressed in a silver-white long gown, her appearance cool and exquisite. Her demeanor extraordinary, cool like a fairy from above the clouds, untouched by earthly fire. Still holding a rabbit in her arms. It was the Moon Venerate. At that moment, the divine ring on the back of her head had 5 flame marks merging into a bright golden flame. Then the flame engulfed the entire divine ring, the light growing ever brighter. Finally, it transformed into a golden sun, emitting brilliant rays, making it impossible for eyes to meet directly. Jiang Fan revealed a surprised expression. No wonder Moon Venerate isn't at the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. Turns out she returned to Moon Palace to break through to Virtuous Realm. Under Jiang Fan and the crowd's watchful gaze, the sun reaching its peak brilliance began melting into golden merit water, forging the merit divine steel behind the Moon Venerate. A new surge of life force exceeding the divinity transformation realm thrived and erupted. Silver Moon Venerable showed excitement, while Leng Yue Sage couldn't help but to appear, his palms slightly trembling. Moon Venerate has returned, only. As Merit Divine Steel was about 1 person tall, the golden merit water ran out. Moon Venerate still lacked some merit, insufficient to enter Sage. Without merit threat, the shadow of the Merit Divine Steel started flickering unstably, with signs of dispersing. Failed to enter Sage, the merits she previously accumulated would be wasted. Silver Moon Venerable decisively pulled out a fingernail-sized Merit Divine Pearl. Moon Venerate, use mine. There's no better time than now to make Moon Venerate owe a favor. Leng Yue Sage took out an eyeball-sized Merit Divine Pearl and hoarsely said, use mine instead. Merit is no longer important to me. Jiang Fan chuckled, stepping forward, presenting a chicken egg-sized Merit Divine Pearl. This one alone is enough for a newly declined heavenly human 5 declines to directly ascend to Sage Realm. My wife enters Sage, no need to trouble you. Silver Moon Venerable shouted, presumptuous. Don't insult our Moon Venerate. Moon Venerate, use mine. At this moment, the Moon Venerate with closed eyes sensed her own predicament. If she doesn't accept, her breakthrough to Sage will undoubtedly fail. The issue is, whose offer should she accept? Leng Yue Sage, with not much lifespan, had merit that could be converted into life spanned through special channels in the 100 realms of all heavens. She couldn't bear to use it. Then between Jiang Fan and Silver Moon Venerable, which should she accept? Choosing anyone would mean owing an immense favor she could never repay in this lifetime. Silver Moon Venerable was extremely anxious. At this time, the Moon Venerate was already in a struggle with Chen Silin for control over the body. If they used Jiang Fan's merit, then having accepted a favor, how would they continue to fight for dominance in the future? Even if they married Moon Venerate, there would still be traces of Jiang Fan left in Moon Venerate's heart. Thus, they directly stepped forward to them and handed the merit right in front of her. Don't hesitate, use mine. Moon Venerate hesitated. She really didn't want to owe Silver Moon Venerable a favor, nor did she want to owe Jiang Fan a favor, while weighing her options. Jiang Fan's voice, tinged with coldness, floated over. Try using his. The icy voice made Moon Venerate shrink her neck. She only just realized if she accepted the favor of another man in front of Jiang Fan, what awaited her would surely be Jiang Fan's thunderous anger. What kind of person was Jiang Fan now? Several sages and the giant emperor had fallen by his hand. As champion marquis and 10th saint, his power was overwhelming. Even the Moon Palace might not withstand Jiang Fan's anger. Therefore, her red lips slightly pursed, she succumbed, softly saying, I never said I would use his. Moon Venerate waved her hand, disdainfully pushing away the small piece of merit divine pearl Silver Moon Venerable had presented. Frowning, she said, Take it away, it only adds to the chaos. Silver Moon Venerable tightly clenched his 5 fingers. The sound of his fist cracking was heard. Moon Venerate was supposed to be his Tao companion, his woman, Silver Moon's. She scolded him in public, showing no face. To the outsider Jiang Fan, she was meekly submissive. Outrageous. All right, Silver Moon, you've caused enough trouble. Don't disturb Starfire Venerable and Moon Venerate. Leng Yue Sage glared at him, not with eyebrows or eyes. She had long wanted to rush up and slap this guy away. It was the joyous day when the 10th saint came to be palace master to help his wife enter the virtuous. What trouble are you adding? Silver Moon Venerable couldn't believe it, saying, What do you mean I'm disturbing Moon Venerate and Starfire Venerable? Who exactly is disturbing whom? If it weren't for Jiang Fan, he and Moon Venerate would have naturally become Tao companions. Seeing he wouldn't back down, it wasn't just Leng Yue Sage getting angry. The disciples of the Moon Palace couldn't stand it either. Senior Silver Moon, this is a matter between husband and wife. Why are you interfering? The 10th saint sacrificed his merit to help his wife enter the virtuous. This is a story that will be cherished forever. Aren't you afraid of being marked as a clown in the history books by making a spectacle of yourself? During the Southern Heavenly Realm War, Silver Moon Venerable had held on to the legs of the Phoenix Dynasty Great Sage. Opposing the Central Earth Army, it already made him unpopular. The disciples of the Moon Palace were even ashamed of him. How could they support him now and offend the universally respected Starfear Venerable? You! Silver Moon Venerable glared at everyone in anger. Len Yue Sage frowned and waved her hand, the moonlight capturing him and pulling him away, leaving Jiang Fan and Moon Venerate enough space. Jiang Fan walked in front of Moon Venerate, handing over the Merit Divine Pearl and said, "From now on, if a man shows goodwill towards you, do you understand what to do?" Moon Venerate lightly bit her red lips, but feeling the inexplicable oppression from Jiang Fan, she reluctantly said in a low voice, "Refuse him." Jiang Fan pinched her chin and said, "Is that enough?" Embarrassment and anger poured from Moon Venerate's eyes. She was a Venerate who had entered the virtuous realm 1,000 years ago, being treated like this by Jiang Fan in front of the entire Moon Palace. But when looking into Jiang Fan's eyes and finding icy coldness within, she shivered involuntarily, quickly restraining her anger, weakly saying, "Then what should I do?" Jiang Fan said. "Tell the other person to get lost. Your man will provide for you." "Repeat it." Moon Venerate suddenly felt extremely ashamed. To admit publicly she was Jiang Fan's woman, she'd rather be killed. Moreover, with such shameful words, "Speak," Jiang Fan said coldly. Moon Venerate keenly noticed the fleeting killing intent hidden in Jiang Fan's eyes, her heart giving a lurch. Jiang Fan truly harbored the intention to kill her. Before, Jiang Fan would never dare because her and Chen Silin's souls were intertwined. Killing her would mean Chen Silin's certain death. Now that he harbors such intent, could it be, Jiang Fan has obtained a treasure capable of killing her? Thinking of this, Moon Venerate's heart pounded wildly. She dared not act rashly anymore. Quickly she suppressed her humiliation and spoke rapidly. "I will tell the other person to get lost. My man will provide for me." Jiang Fan stared at her for a while, and only then did the killing intent in his eyes slowly recede. Today he was so domineering, perhaps to force Moon Venerate. If she were rebellious, even threatening Chen Silin, then he could harden his heart and use the soul leaf gift left by Bingxin to kill her. Thus, Chen Silin would be completely free. What was slightly surprising was, perhaps due to the period of training at the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion, the once aloof fairy, as cold as Chang, had begun to comply with him, not as unyielding and defiant as he had imagined. He released her chin and took out the Merit Divine Pearl, tossing it to her. "Take it! My woman doesn't lack merit!" Moon Venerate quickly caught it with both hands, cautiously glanced at Jiang Fan, then carefully cut off a corner of the Merit Divine Pearl and cast it into the Merit Divine Steel. The Divine Pearl, about to dissipate, received a baptism of merit, quickly taking shape, converging into a golden, glittering complete steel. The entire sky over Central State instantly transformed into a kaleidoscope of colorful clouds. Endless power of laws poured down like a Milky Way, bathing Moon Venerate. Her physique, soul, strength, life force, and other aspects underwent an earth-shaking transformation. Finally, the Merit Divine Steel on her converged with lines of inscription. Moon Venerate, brimming with joy, looked over. Once the inscriptions are complete, she would return to her former virtuous state. When she saw the words inscribed on it, her expression slightly froze. Here lies the reincarnated Great Venerate, who fought in the southern heavenly realm, vanquishing formidable foes with remarkable merit, and accompanied by her husband, Starfear Venerable, inspiring him to achieve great feats, contributing greatly. With double merits benefiting the world, a Merit Divine Steel especially bestowed, titled Dual Wife Sage. After reading, Moon Venerate staggered back against the laurel tree, her vision going dark. Those present were looking at each other. This steel inscription, is it serious? A sage's Merit Divine Steel records the most important deeds of the sage's life. But what does this say? Says the reason Moon Venerate could enter the virtuous, her killing in the southern heavenly realm, is merely remarkable merit. The true reason is accompanying Jiang Fan together. Turns out Moon Venerate's hard-earned exploits from battling in the southern heavenly realm were not as significant as being labeled Jiang Fan's wife. So be it. The inscription clearly states Moon Venerate accompanied her husband, Starfear Venerable, on the campaign. Isn't this officially recognizing their relationship? Most ironically, Moon Venerate's title is Dual Wife Sage, implying both Chen Silin and Moon Venerate, as one soul, are Jiang Fan's wives. Now, no matter how much Moon Venerate wants to rid herself of Jiang Fan, it's of no use, unless she never unveils the Merit Divine Steel for the rest of her life. Moon Venerate felt so aggrieved she wanted to vomit blood, completely devoid of any joy from entering the virtuous. She felt the limitless indulgence of the Central Earth ancient saints towards Jiang Fan. Can the inscription on the merit divine steel be written like this? Might as well write down all the sage beauties of Central Earth as Jiang Fan's wives. The moon venerate felt both shame and anger. Looking at the golden, glowing merit divine steel behind her, she felt like crying but had no tears. How would she have the face to summon this steel to fight in the future? Relying on her husband to enter the sage realm, this is too humiliating, isn't it? Dual wife sage? Jiang Fan's eyes flickered and he looked up at the sky. Were the ancient saints really helping him? They were clearly helping the moon venerate. They were afraid Jiang Fan would erase the moon venerate's soul, so they directly came up with an official certification, even naming it dual wife sage, implying Jiang Fan should spare the moon venerate's life and not kill her. He looked at the moon venerate with an unfriendly gaze and said, "What? You don't seem happy to be my wife." The moon venerate heard this and angrily glared at Jiang Fan. Who could be happy in such a situation? Out of nowhere, she became the woman everyone acknowledged as Jiang Fan's. However, when she noticed the killing intent reappearing in Jiang Fan's eyes, she suppressed her discontent and became compliant again. Happy? Jiang Fan extended his hand. Come here. The moon venerate looked at Jiang Fan's outstretched hand, hesitated for a moment, then softly placed her snowy white, delicate hand into his hot palm. Jiang Fan pulled gently, drawing the moon venerate to his side and holding her by the shoulder, then looked at everyone and said, "Thank you all for witnessing the entry of my wife into the sage realm. My beloved wife and I have some matters to attend to. Please feel free to leave." With that, he embraced the moon venerate and headed to a side hall of the moon palace. This caused the disciples of the moon palace to glance at each other knowingly. The ancient saints arranged the marriage and it's officially certified. Now it's only missing the wedding night. Wow, on the day of entering the sage realm, they really must need to celebrate the bridal chamber night. Our dual wife sage is in for a treat. Upon hearing this, the moon venerate immediately panicked. Was Jiang Fan also going to engage with her for 3 days and nights? She instinctively struggled, but when she felt the grip on her shoulder tighten, she stopped resisting. She bit her lips, suppressing her anxiety, and obediently followed Jiang Fan forwards. The Silver Moon Venerable witnessed this scene and could bear it no more. The Silver Moon Venerable was utterly enraged, shouting, "Jiang Fan, you're going too far." Jiang Fan stopped and turned his head to look, his gaze cold. "I'm not in a good mood right now, don't provoke me." The moon venerate's heart secretly tensed. To provoke Jiang Fan at this time, it seemed the Silver Moon Venerable's brain was made of tofu. She sternly admonished, "Refrain from being disrespectful to Starfire Venerable." Halfway through her sentence, she noticed Jiang Fan's peripheral gaze, her heart chilled, and she quickly added, "Refrain from being disrespectful to my husband." At these words, the Silver Moon Venerable grew even more furious. "Jiang Fan, this is the Moon Palace, not your heavenly mechanism pavilion. We have 3 sages here, there's no room for your arrogance." Sure, Jiang Fan possessed many great treasures, extremely formidable. But no matter how formidable the treasures, their power depended on the holder's strength. With 3 sages attacking, Jiang Fan wouldn't even have the chance to use his treasures. "Palace Master, Moon Venerate, let's join forces and drive this arrogant fellow out of the Moon Palace." Jiang Fan looked at him indifferently. This fly was truly annoying. He casually said, "Join forces? Would my wife join you?" The Moon Venerate immediately clarified, "I won't." Even though she had broken through to the virtuous realm, she still retained a deep-seated fear of Jiang Fan. Intuition told her that Jiang Fan wanted to kill her, but simply had no excuse. She best not give him a suitable reason. The Silver Moon Venerable gritted his teeth, then looked at Leng Yue Sage and said, "Palace Master, how long will you let an outsider act unscrupulously in our Moon Palace?" Leng Yue Sage, leaning on a cane, used instantaneous movement to arrive beside Jiang Fan and looked at the Silver Moon Venerable with indifference. "Enough fuss, go rest." What? The Silver Moon Venerable couldn't believe it. Even the Palace Master stood by an outsider, Jiang Fan. He clenched his fists. "Palace Master, why do you favor him so much?" "Just because he is the 10th saint." Leng Yue Sage's expression was indifferent. "Silver Moon, I'm doing this for your own good. Stop thinking about the Moon Venerate and don't be an enemy of Starfire Venerable any longer. Otherwise, there will be no place for you in the Moon Palace." Ha 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 ha. The Silver Moon Venerable laughed out of anger. "Palace Master, have you forgotten what you promised me before? You said, when the Moon Venerate and I both enter the Sage Realm, that would be the day we become Tao companions. Now you're telling me not to think about the Moon Venerate. What, are you reneging on your promise? Leng Yue Sage's face showed embarrassment. She never imagined that her words of evasion back then would become reality today. She sighed softly. Of course I won't go back on my word. The Silver Moon Venerable was slightly taken aback, then showed joy looking at the Moon Venerate, he said. Moon Venerate, did you hear that? The Palace Master will preside over our grand wedding. Aren't you leaving Jiang Fan to come to my side? I'm your destined husband. The Moon Venerate frowned, not knowing what to do. The command the Palace Master gave that day, she also agreed to. Now the Moon Venerate demands fulfillment. Is she to break the promise? Jiang Fan calmly looked at the Silver Moon Venerable and said, Become Tao companions. I don't agree. The Silver Moon Venerable sneered. Do the affairs of our Moon Palace need your approval, an outsider? I should thank you for helping the Moon Venerate break through to the virtuous realm, otherwise I wouldn't even have a chance. Jiang Fan chuckled. The long, gloomy expression on his face finally revealed a trace of a smile. Outsider? With a thought, a blue circular moon token appeared on his chest. The moment it appeared, the ground of the Moon Palace trembled. A majestic moonlight shot up to the sky, coalescing above Jiang Fan into a bright and clear full moon. Streaks of moonlight cascaded around Jiang Fan, complementing his already handsome and upright silhouette with an ethereal and transcendent aura. The disciples of the Moon Palace were stunned. This is the Moon Palace Master's token. Why is it in the hands of Starfear Venerable? The Moon Venerate was also stunned that Jiang Fan was indeed the Moon Palace Master. Then wouldn't the Moon Palace be Jiang Fan's home? Where could she escape to in the future? Leng Yue Sage smiled and said, Aren't you going to pay respects to your new Palace Master? The crowd awakened from a dream, then became extremely excited. The first divinity transformation of Central Earth, the champion Marquis of Dacian, Central Earth's 10th saint, to assume the role of Moon Palace Master. The disciples, thrilled, knelt in succession, cheering echoing repeatedly. This is a joyous event from the heavens. Only the Silver Moon Venerable took out a crescent-shaped blue token from his bosom, his face full of disbelief. So Leng Yue Sage hadn't given only him a candidate token. Jiang Fan was also one of the candidates. He gritted his teeth and said, I don't care, the promise made by the Palace Master cannot be reneged. Jiang Fan said lightly, You used the promise of the previous dynasty's Palace Master to order the current dynasty's Palace Master. As the Palace Master, I declare the agreement between the Silver Moon Venerable and the Moon Venerate void. The Silver Moon Venerable was so provoked his chest heaved violently, and the pent-up frustration he could no longer bear turned into a mouthful of fresh blood he spat out. He looked at Jiang Fan with hatred, angrily shouting, Jiang Fan, you took my woman, seized my Moon Palace Master position. I am irreconcilable with you. With a mighty rumble, a massive surge of black airflow erupted from his body. Dark silhouettes of laws circled around his body, appearing and disappearing intermittently. A pitch-black stone steel even appeared behind him. Jiang Fan's eyes were sharp as he coldly said, I guessed you'd achieve the Sage Realm through luck. A fierce, murderous intent burst from Jiang Fan's eyes. In the past, he did not harbor deep hostility towards those who entered the Sage Realm through Chi Fortune. He merely thought they had a different method of entering the Sage Realm. But after understanding the way of the inferior sage's cultivation, he was extremely wary of them. If the person's character is not upright, there could be one more great evil who tortures others to extract resentment. Coincidentally, Silver Moon Venerable's character was not one he dared to praise as good. At least, it could not be considered righteous. If he embarked on the path of the inferior sage, who knows how many people would suffer from his harm. Where did your Chi Fortune come from? Jiang Fan asked coldly. At the same time, he scanned the world of the heavenly state, discovering that its Chi Fortune had not dissipated. If it wasn't from the heavenly state, then where did it originate? The Silver Moon Venerable, flaunting the Sage Realm, had a flicker of guilt in his eyes, but forced himself to calm down and said, It's my battle trophy, do you have a problem with that? Jiang Fan's gaze sharpened. Battle trophy? In the Southern Heavenly Realm, only the Giant Emperor possesses Chi Fortune of entering the Sage Realm. Which Giant Emperor did you slay for your Chi Fortune? As soon as he spoke, the Cold Moon Sage, Moon Venerate, and disciples of the Moon Palace all turned pale. They too had once speculated about the source of Silver Moon Venerable's Chi Fortune. But since the other party had already entered the Sage Realm, most feared retaliation and dared not question it. Silver Moon Venerable became even more guilty, his tone hastening in pace. I looted it, is that a problem? Jiang Fan, don't think you can falsely accuse someone who is loyal to Central Earth just because of your identity. Jiang Fan remained silent. Without evidence, he didn't want to casually accuse someone of colluding with the giant emperor. Especially since Silver Moon Venerable had once fought bravely against the ancient giant invasion, and had even ranked 5th on the ancient Saint Divine Steel. He wouldn't readily incriminate such a hero. Jiang Fan, Jiang Fan! Suddenly, a shout came from the direction of the Qinshan Bureau. Jiang Fan glanced over. By now, few in Central Earth called him by name. In his view, a blonde girl riding a great white tiger was rushing towards the Moon Palace. She had long, wavy golden hair, a proud figure, and exotic, prominent features. It was none other than Liu Li, whom he hadn't seen in a long time. Moreover, the white tiger, which should have been guarding the heavenly mechanism pavilion, was also with her. The great white tiger leaped into the Moon Palace, its massive body resembling a small mountain. Seeing Jiang Fan, it instinctively crouched down out of guilt. "Where did you die off to?" Jiang Fan glanced at the white tiger. This old tiger had gone missing after leaving with the Central Earth Army to the southern heavenly realm. Even during the ranking on the ancient Saint Divine Steel, it was nowhere to be seen. Hearing this, the white tiger whined pitifully. Jiang Fan couldn't decipher its meaning, so Liu Li slid her hand down from its forehead to nose bridge and explained, "Don't blame it. It was arranged by my father. Before ascending the tower passage in the heavenly state, my father left it behind. In case the battle in the southern heavenly realm went awry, it could take me and some beings of Central Earth to escape." Jiang Fan nodded slightly in understanding. No wonder the heavenly realm hadn't seen the white tiger's shadow. Golden Scale Venerate's arrangement made sense. Though the heavenly realm expedition was a desperate gamble, who could truly worry less about their closest kin? Coincidentally, the white tiger had the ability to turn invisible, making it the perfect candidate to protect Liu Li and some people and escape. Jiang Fan's gaze toward the white tiger softened. "I thought you had become a deserter. Come roam the void with me." The white tiger's eyes sparkled, nodding its large head repeatedly. Those who returned from the heavenly realm battle had all gained great opportunities, and it regretted not going. But good things come to those who wait. With Jiang Fan, it didn't worry about lacking opportunities. Jiang Fan then turned to Liu Li and asked, "How did you find this place?" Liu Li replied hurriedly, "I followed you from the heavenly mechanism pavilion. Here, this is what my father wanted me to give you." Jiang Fan looked over and found it was a piece of black bone. His brows arched slightly. Wasn't this something the ancient giants liked to use? "What is this?" Liu Li tilted her head and said, "My dad said it fell from beyond the sky during our heavenly realm war. It happened to land on our demon continent, and it contains a memory projection. My dad watched it and said it would be best handled by you." "Oh." Jiang Fan frowned slightly. A projection that fell from beyond the sky? He still needed to handle it. Considering the item was a giant's magic artifact, Jiang Fan opted to activate its memory projection in front of everyone, saying, "Let's all watch it together." From the black bone, a glow was projected, shaping an 8-Shanghai view. In the view stood the Silver Moon Venerable. Then, the voice of Princess Zaijiang was heard. They were making a trade. The content of the trade was Silver Moon Venerable sparing Princess Zaijiang's life, while Princess Zaijiang gifted him a bag of chi fortune. As the scene shattered, the entire area fell into deadly silence. The Cold Moon Sage, Moon Venerate, and disciples of the Moon Palace all gazed incredulously at Silver Moon Venerable. Liu Li also covered her mouth, eyes widened. At the critical moment of defeating the southern heavenly realm, someone dared to let the Central Princess escape. This was absolutely unforgivable for Central Earth. It's no wonder her father wanted Jiang Fan to handle it, because both Princess Zaijiang and Silver Moon Venerable had significant ties with Jiang Fan. An icy chill had already formed in Jiang Fan's eyes as he gazed coldly at Silver Moon Venerable. "Is this what you call loyalty to Central Earth?" Silver Moon Venerable's mind went blank. He never expected Princess Zaijiang to have a backup, projecting his collusion with the giants back to Central Earth. This was a death sentence. He said guiltily, the other was merely a giant king, inconsequential. Releasing a giant king in exchange for another sage in Central Earth is a profitable deal. Jiang Fan's voice was thick with coldness. "Do you even know what her status is to dare let her go? Her threat is much greater than a giant emperor's." His concerns about Princess Zaijiang weren't without reason. Given the chance, she would become a significant threat. Yet Silver Moon Venerable let her go. At this moment, Jiang Fan's intention to kill solidified. "Opposing me, I can spare your life." But colluding with the ancient giants, this crime is unforgivable. Cold Moon Sage subconsciously reached out to intervene, but was silently discouraged by Moon Venerate, who shook her head slightly at him. Moon Venerate transmitted, Jiang Fan has never tolerated someone to this extent. He has already given Silver Moon many chances. If you persuade further, it might backfire. Cold Moon Sage, eyes showing reluctance. Silver Moon was his hand-picked pride. How could he bear seeing him executed? Yet, Moon Venerate's words were not without merit. Back when Silver Moon Venerable assaulted the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion to forcefully demand the Four Declines breakthrough potion, Jiang Fan had spared him once. Later, when Silver Moon Venerable sided with the Phoenix Dynasty Great Sage and pressed Jiang Fan still did not retaliate. This time he competed publicly with Jiang Fan for the Moon Venerate, yet Jiang Fan still controlled himself. Reviewing Jiang Fan's journey, who else had he tolerated so much in opposition? The reason was Silver Moon Venerable's past battles for Central Earth, attributed with meritorious deeds. But Silver Moon Venerable's current collusion with the giants, letting Princess Zaijiang go, had utterly broken Jiang Fan's bottom line. The sage of Leng Yue silently sighed, dissipating from reality into nihility. The next scene she couldn't bear to watch. Moon Venerate, however, had no qualms. A millennium ago, her downfall was indirectly caused by the betrayal of the 10 sins of Central Earth. Now another inferior sage colluding with giants has emerged. How could she tolerate it? Glancing at Jiang Fan, Moon Venerate said, "Do you need my help?" Jiang Fan did not turn his head, walking into the heavenly canopy with hands behind his back, saying, "No need. Silver Moon, come to outer heaven. You are unworthy to die in Central Earth." With that said, he raised his hand to cleave open the void and stepped into the boundless nihility. Silver Moon Venerate's eyes swirled with deep malice, arrogant. A mere divinity transformation realm dare to flaunt before this sage. No matter, today this sage shall wield the law to slay you, offering it to my sage's path. Whoosh. Silver Moon Venerate also rushed out of Central Earth. The appearance of the void rift caused clouds to stir on all sides. Thunder Annihilation Sage, Wuhin Sage, and Ancient Zen Buddha Venerable gathered together. Thunder Annihilation Sage's eyes showed anticipation. Before the expedition to the heavenly realm, the battle between Jiang Fan and the young emperor overturned heaven and earth. Now fighting again, directly facing Silver Moon Sage. I wonder what the odds of victory are. Wuhin Sage stroked his beard and said, "In the southern heavenly realm's battle, Jiang Fan's slaying of the inferior sage, and the giant emperor was only successful with the help of sages. The only one killed alone was the netherworld king who temporarily became the giant emperor. This battle. It's really hard to say. I wonder what the Buddha Venerate thinks." As sages, they understood better than anyone the gap between a sage and the divinity transformation realm. It's not just about physique, speed, or strength. The biggest gap is that sages grasp the laws of heaven and earth, able to wield these laws to destroy enemies. This is something infinitely difficult for the divinity transformation realm to resist. Ancient Zen Buddha Venerable remained as calm as a deep well, his profound old eyes watching Jiang Fan's back silently. Evidently, at this moment, even Ancient Zen Buddha Venerable couldn't see through Jiang Fan. Liu Li gazed up at the outer void, worry showing on her exquisite and beautiful face. Why is father not acting personally, instead letting Jiang Fan handle it himself? What if Jiang Fan is defeated? Suddenly, her shoulder gently sank. Turning sideways, she saw it was the tall and imposing Golden Scale Venerate. He looked solemnly toward the outer heaven and said, "Let Jiang Fan resolve his own cause and effect. If truly undefeatable, it won't be too late for me to intervene." Liu Li was startled. "Father, since you came, why did you make me deliver the message?" Golden Scale Venerate said, "Otherwise, how would you have another chance to see Starfear Venerable? In the future, your interactions will become less and less. Consider this a farewell to him." Liu Li heard this, her crystal eyes dimmed slightly, and said, "I hope this old friend will grow better and better in the future." Shortly after, another sage's figure appeared from void to reality. Taking a closer look, it was the silver-haired and breathtaking Star Mountain Master. Her beautiful eyes shot toward the outer heaven, murmuring, "Entering the heavenly person 4 declines. The first battle is a solo fight in the virtuous realm. If he wins, then I." She clutched her chest, murmuring, Once there was a peerless prodigy in front of me, I did not cherish him. Only after losing him did I regret it terribly. The pain in this world is nothing beyond this." As she was murmuring, Beside her, a figure in a black long skirt appeared from void to reality again. She gave the Star Mountain Master a sidelong glance and sneered. Central Earth's #1 grudge woman. Truly deserves the name. Star Mountain Master turned to look surprised. You've entered the virtuous realm too. The woman in the black long skirt before her was none other than Xianxia Venerable, or rather now should be called Xianxia Sage. Star Mountain Master was full of disbelief. Where did you get enough merit to enter the Sage realm? She entered the Sage realm through 2 major meritorious battles and the accumulation of years of goodness and merit. Xianxia became a great venerate only a month ago without enough merit accumulated. The merits of 2 battles were as high as hers. How could she suddenly enter the Sage realm? The black long skirt was not without pride. My daughter-in-law can enter the Sage realm because of my son. Why can't I, as the godmother, get some benefit? While speaking, she glanced at Moon Venerate. The Star Mountain Master felt a nameless rage rising rapidly. Having a son is so remarkable, Xianxia Venerable teased. Then go give birth to one. You! The Star Mountain Master was so furious her bosom heaved, her breathtakingly beautiful face filled with resentment. This vile mother-son duo. Moon Venerate listened in embarrassment. What's meant by good news doesn't go out, bad news spreads 1,000 miles. How long has it been since she entered the Sage realm through her husband, yet the news has spread across the Sage community. However, looking at Jinlin, Star Mountain Master, and Xianxia, 3 newly ascended great venerates, she became a bit curious. In the past few days, Central Earth had 5 sages phenomena. These 3 before me, plus Silver Moon, there are already 4. Who's the 5th to enter the Sage realm? Is it 10,000 soldiers Great Venerable or Ice Heart Venerate? Or Tongxin and Tonghun? It should be more likely 10,000 soldiers Great Venerable. He's from the older generation, whose deep accumulation of merit is far beyond the likes of younger ones like Bingxin. While pondering, the void exploded with a powerful fluctuation. The sages' faces slightly changed. They took to the air and reached the void. At this point in the void, several outer heaven sages were also there, waiting for Jiang Fan to fulfill his promise, keeping watch outside Central Earth. Heavenly Poison Sage kept his hands in his sleeves, saying, "This guy ready for another fight." But last time was with the Divinity Transformation Young Emperor. This time it's with the sage-entered Silver Moon. Next to him, Jiang Yishan raised his eyebrows high, saying, "No way, Heavenly Person 4 declines goes solo against sages. Isn't this overreaching?" Even at young Master Xiang's prime, he never dared to solo fight a sage with the Divinity Transformation body. The rest of the outer heaven sages were also slightly worried. If Jiang Fan were to perish by accident, where would they go to claim the peace monument? Under the collective focus, Jiang Fan donned the void feather robe, wielding a 3 feet black evil sword, single-handedly carrying, hovering in the vast void curtain. Behind Silver Moon Venerate floated a pitch-black divine steel, emitting a dangerous light that waxed and waned unpredictably. The dark stream surged, embedding the virtual image of emotion-polluting law chains. Facing a sage alone, Jiang Fan, you overestimate yourself. Silver Moon Venerate's eyes were sinister, his gaze rolling with a murderous intent. Jiang Fan raised the black sword, pointing it remotely at him. Killing you is enough. Silver Moon Venerate's gaze dimly assessed Jiang Fan's waist. Where is your day and sword array? And your Tai Chu prison sky gourd? Bring them all out, otherwise you'll have no chance to use them. Jiang Fan's way of acting was well known among the strong in Central Earth. He preferred to win from a weaker position, taking bold and risky actions. He wasn't afraid Jiang Fan would use his treasures prematurely, only worried Jiang Fan would use tactics. Crack, the black sword in Jiang Fan's hand suddenly ignited with intense thunderfire. The long sword instantly transformed into 1,000 feet. Like a horizon bisecting heaven and earth. You're also worthy of dying under them. 1 man, 1 sword, killing you is enough. The words fell. The 1,000 Jiang evil sword swept across with the destructive power of annihilating the great curtain. Silver Moon Venerable snorted coldly, ant-like power. He stood in place without even the intention to dodge, his palms slightly raised. The black airflow surrounding him detached from his body, forming an endless black great wall between them. The destructive sword light, arriving in a flash, struck the wall and embedded within. This sword to kill me? Not enough. Silver Moon Venerable sneered in disdain. With a thought, the wall surged with terrifying negative emotions, rushing along the evil sword straight to Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan remained expressionless, resting a single hand on his lips. 6 parts in 1. Kaila, Frenzied five-colored thunder erupted forth, coalescing into 6 grand phenomena, then centered on Jiang Fan, transformed into 100 Jiang five-colored giant. The cultivation erupting from Jiang Fan surged instantly to the heavenly human 5 declines, rapidly ascending to the limit, infinitely close to the brink of a sage. The 100 Jiang thunder giant grasped the 1,000 Jiang evil sword with one hand and suddenly swung it. Pooh! The endless black great wall exploded into a storm of airflow, overturned and flew wildly, splashing in all directions. Silver Moon Venerable's body shook, staggering backward. Before he could steady himself, the world-ending sword light of the black sword flashed in. Silver Moon Venerable's eyes turned cold, the black divine steel behind him flickered to the front. Humph, the black sword rubbed with black flames, lightning and fire splashing, 5-colored thunder scattered like fragments. Silver Moon Venerable's expression was dark as water. He originally thought if Jiang Fan didn't use a heavy treasure, he could kill him like slaughtering a dog. Unexpectedly, he indeed had power close to a sage. Killing intent deep as an abyss in his eyes, he snorted, "This is your limit. To kill me, not enough. Now it's my turn." Buzz. The black divine steel in front of him erupted with an eerie black light. Dark chains of law faintly entered into the heavens and earth, radiating in all directions. "Starfear Venerable, be careful. He's using laws." An outer heaven sage's heart leaped to his throat, urgently warning. Everyone was shocked. The power of laws, Jiang Fan could not withstand this no matter what. The Golden Scale Venerate and several other venerables were prepared to intervene. They couldn't just watch Jiang Fan die at the hands of the likes of Silver Moon Venerable, an inferior sage. But at this moment, Jiang Fan's finger rested on his lips again, softly muttering, "Holy blood!" In the heavenly abyss heart, the angelic holy bloodline of Little Ru and Xia Keoj erupted like a volcanic explosion. They carried unimaginable supreme power, reaching throughout the body along the operational trajectory of 6 parts in one. Countless holy light emanated from Jiang Fan's pores, turning him into a humanoid holy light. Behind him grew wings unique to the angel clan. This scene made those ready to intervene, including the Golden Scale Venerate, freeze. But what shocked them even more was, the aura emanating from Jiang Fan's body underwent a transformation. An overwhelming pressure of a one-winged great angel, like surging cloud sea, continued to ascend. Strong and weak 2 law chain phantoms from the angel clan intertwined around him. What? What did he do? How did he become a one-winged great angel? No, it's not just one wing, the aura is continuously surging. In a blink, the entire thunder giant began to transform, emanating angel holy light that illuminated the darkness. A huge pair of wings grew from its back, resembling a new creature fused with thunder god and angel, exuding an ancient aura that rolled and spread in all directions like tidal waves. Humph, a cluster of black, ominous chain phantoms was launched from the void by the waves. The sword resting on the black divine steel transformed into a pure angel light sword. The black divine steel produced a cracking sound, being cleaved into it by the light sword. The sudden upheaval caught Silver Moon Venerable unprepared, angrily roaring, "Don't you dare destroy my divine steel!" The black divine steel released powerful black light. Countless eerie law chain phantoms erupting like a volcano from within, slowly pushing the light sword out. Watching the light sword being raised, Silver Moon Venerable let out a long, cold laugh. "Jiang Fan, you can't kill me!" Just as the words fell, Jiang Fan's persistent aura once again reached a critical point, surging to an even higher level. Another pair of angel wings sprouted. 2-winged angel leader? This rivals a firmly grounded one calamity realm, someone exclaimed in astonishment. They witnessed firsthand a heavenly person 4 declines ascended his cultivation to such a height. Jiang Fan's power exponentially surged. His eyes indifferent, his palm pressed downward. The 1,000 Jiang angel light sword emitted countless law chains, wrapping around the entire sword body. When slashing downward, the black law chains in the divine steel, like shadows in the light, were all severed, erupting into fragments scattering in all directions. The long sword continued downward, intending to split the divine steel in 2. Silver Moon Venerable shrieked in terror, "Stop, stop! It was so difficult for me to become a sage." Ka-cha, rumble. The response was Jiang Fan's merciless sword. The black divine steel, unable to bear the burden, was severed in the middle, then shattered into black airflow, with some luck drifting in all directions. Pooh! Silver Moon Venerable, his divine steel destroyed, suffered serious damage as his heart spirit was connected, spewing a mouthful of blood, his complexion turning as gold foil. To his utter horror, Jiang Fan's eyes remained icy, ruthlessly continuing to slash at him. "No, don't kill me, I am under the protection of Phoenix Dynasty Great Sage." Silver Moon Venerable was aghast with terror. Jiang Fan's eyes still remained indifferent. The more someone is protected, the less he can let him achieve his path as an inferior sage. "Stop!" A familiar soul voice came from the central earth, ancient and imposing, filled with unchallengeable heavenly authority. It was the remnant soul of the reincarnation sage left at Reincarnation Mountain, arriving with anger. "Junior, put down the sword. His path body has been reserved, do not err on your part." The central earth sages were surprised by the reincarnation sage's remnant soul intervening, but not unexpected. When the Phoenix Dynasty Great Sage previously mentioned looking after Silver Moon Venerable, they guessed that an aging central earth sage who was about to pass on took a fancy to him. The reincarnation sage's main body resided at the source of evil, should have been instructed by this person, now through the remnant soul, coming to stop Jiang Fan. Golden Scale Venerate was secretly annoyed. The last time the ancient saint Divine Steel granted 9 pieces of merit to Jiang Fan, it was also this shameless old thing that jumped out to grab them. Shamelessly claiming, merits would be wasted on Jiang Fan, but reasonably utilized by him. Those were merits Jiang Fan exchanged with his life. The reincarnation sage, who hadn't contributed a bit to the central earth at the source of evil, had the gall to rob a junior of his merit. Now again, he was meddling to protect an inferior sage like Silver Moon Venerable, who colluded with ancient giants. What could he do when faced with the reincarnation sage, whose main body held terrifying power? Even the Phoenix Dynasty Great Sage had to show respect. How could Jiang Fan refuse? Silver Moon Venerable exclaimed joyfully, "Did you hear that? Touch even a hair of mine and you'll be opposing the ancient sages. You will die and your lifetime achievements will turn to dust." In response, Jiang Fan's 1,000-foot luminous sword swung without hesitation, emitting waves of destructive law that completely enveloped him. Slash, Silver Moon Venerable's Tao body, like a black deity monument, was split into 2 on the spot. His soul attempted to escape, but was shattered into soul fragments under the impact of terrifying holy power laws. A bitter scream from the soul level echoed through the heavens and earth. "Jiang Fan, you will die miserably too." Similar enemy curses, Jiang Fan had heard too many and was already numb. Yet for some reason, when spoken by Silver Moon Venerable, Jiang Fan felt a strange chill, as if his curse pulled on the hidden secrets of fate. Jiang Fan's eyes narrowed slightly. He thought of the Princess Zaijiang that Silver Moon Venerable had released, feeling uneasy. Could it be that Princess Zaijiang plays an important role in the cause and effect of my death destiny? The white-robed skeleton had once examined Jiang Fan's death destiny and said that it was woven by numerous causes and effects. Some of these causes and effects he dared not provoke. Combined with the mysterious origins of Princess Zaijiang, Jiang Fan clenched his fist, determined to kill her at all costs upon seeing her again. "Jiang Fan," from behind came the angry reprimand from the remnant soul of the reincarnation sage. "What a haughty champion marquis! With a little merit, you disregard us elders." Jiang Fan's massive angelic thunderbolt body turned around, swung his longsword directly at the remnant soul of the reincarnation sage, his gaze sharp as a sword. "What are you? Do you deserve my attention? Central Earth is in peril, you ignore it. Central Earth expeditions to the heavenly realm, you act indifferent. When merit appears, you jump out to snatch it. Upon finding a usable Tao body, you show up to seize it. Still proclaiming yourself as an elder, what kind of elder are you? You so-called sages who have seen the grand universe no longer view yourselves as part of Central Earth. Allowing you in Central Earth is only due to your past merits 1,000 years ago. Dare to overstep again, and you'll be driven out to find another pure land." The reincarnation sage was furious. The aged soul face was full of authority. "Audacious child, you!" Ding ding, suddenly appearing on Jiang Fan's chest was a black-red bell. It was the Hell Soul Bell. The red side pointed directly at the reincarnation sage. Faintly visible, within the red side, a dog and a woman's remnant soul were imprisoned. The reincarnation sage immediately felt his remnant soul trembling, as if it was about to be swallowed by the bell at any moment. His words thus came to an abrupt halt. He secretly felt a chill. At the first merit conference, when he tried to seize Jiang Fan's remnant soul, Jiang Fan still held some respect for him. Now Jiang Fan completely regarded him as a stranger. He even had the ability and courage to erase his remnant soul. The remnant soul of the reincarnation sage deeply observed Jiang Fan, saying, "You don't know whom you've offended." Finishing his words, he turned towards Reincarnation Mountain. Before completely disappearing, he turned again with significant meaning. "Also, don't think we're Central Earth's traitors. One day, when you come to the source of evil, you will not want to return. The more human one is, the less likely they are to return." Then he completely entered Reincarnation Mountain, leaving intriguing words drifting in the heaven and earth, causing everyone to fall into contemplation. Jiang Fan also showed a hint of confusion. Could it be those ancient sages residing in the source of evil no longer view themselves as part of Central Earth, are not just coveting a better, grand universe? Bang, a soft sound pulled Jiang Fan's thoughts back. It was the last bit of five-colored thunder dissipating within him, causing the thunderbolt giant to vanish. The holy power lingering around Jiang Fan returned to his body. The heavenly abyss heart returned to normal. Among the 51 feathers of the angel holy bloodline, only 45 remained. Just now, when cultivation ascended to the two-winged great angel, he burned through the bloodline power of 6 feathers. Jiang Fan showed a hint of curiosity. If all are burned, what level of great angel would it be? Thinking of this as Kaoj's parting gift, sacrificing half of his martial path for Jiang Fan, he immediately suppressed the thought. The feathers Kaoj gave him, once used, there would be one less each time. He couldn't use them lightly unless at a critical moment in the future. Looking back at the dissipated Silver Moon Venerable, Jiang Fan put away the evil sword expressionlessly. Killing Silver Moon Venerable brought no joy, as he stared at the evil sword in his palm with cold eyes reflected in it. "Princess Zai, Jiang, even as you leave, you wish us to kill each other. You, indeed, shouldn't be kept alive." Princess Zai Jiang's revelation was not out of goodwill. She deliberately provoked a battle between Silver Moon Venerable and the sages of Central Earth. No matter who died, Central Earth would lose more than one sage. She was avenging the southern heavenly realm. The crowd came back to their senses, looking towards Jiang Fan with completely changed expressions. One sword, he killed a supposedly inferior sage, monument and all. With such strength, who would still regard him as a member of the divinity transformation realm. The heavenly poison sage stepped forward with a smile, cupping his hands. "Congratulations, brother Jiang, martial path, great success." The outer heaven sages stepped forward one by one to offer congratulations. Jiang Fan put away the evil sword, restrained the coldness on his face, and said, "Just minor paths, really. Heavenly poison sage, please return to the poisonous world and patiently await. I will soon visit the poisonous world to fulfill our agreement to study the poison classic." The heavenly poison sage had been waiting for these words, laughed heartily, looking forward to joining brother Jiang in exploring the grand path. "Farewell, Yishin, let's go." Jiang Yishin observed Jiang Fan with a complicated expression. "Brother Jiang, see you in the poisonous world." Jiang Fan nodded, watching them depart. Then he looked towards the remaining 9 outer heaven sages, his gaze calming down. "9 elders, please go ahead." The Ice Realm sage said awkwardly, "Brother Jiang, about the peace monument." Jiang Fan looked at them indifferently. "Do you have the nerve to bring it up? At the most crucial moments, 4 of you were dragged to the outer realms by the 9-day giant emperor. Among the remaining 6, 1 perished, and the other 5 all fled at critical moments. Do you still expect me to honor the exchange agreement?" If it weren't for Jiang Fan using the final trump card of the Asura Emperor, this battle would have been dire. The Ice Realm sage was quite embarrassed. "It's our fault. How about this? My Ice Realm is willing to pay more than agreed to borrow the peace monument. As for what extra to pay, when Brother Jiang arrives at my Ice Realm, whatever you need, we will strive to find." The other sages echoed similar sentiments. Their mid-battle escape was indeed disgraceful, thus they could only offer more to seek Jiang Fan's aid. Jiang Fan glanced at them, snorted, "Go back and wait, don't think you'll get through easily." Upon hearing his intention, the 9 outer heaven sages were overjoyed, bowing and bidding farewell, ready for welcoming. Jinlin watched their departure, displeased. "They're getting off easy." Jiang Fan said, "Forget it." They were external support, naturally prioritizing survival. Fleeing in battle was expected. As long as they can pay a little more, there's no harm in lending them the peace monument. It could bring Central Earth many opportunities for sages, great angels, and Asura emperors to progress and drive out dark creatures. Why not embrace it? The rest of the Central Earth sages gathered around, offering congratulations one after another for Jiang Fan's martial path reaching great success. Only the cold moon sage silently stepped into the void, quietly gathering the silver moon's blood mist that had scattered into the void. She showed a trace of compassion in her eyes, remaining silent. Seeing this, Jiang Fan said, "I'm sorry to have saddened you, Senior Cold Moon." The cold moon sage shook her head. "What fault do you have? Colluding with the ancient giant, even if you hadn't killed him, I would have upheld justice over kinship. I'm saddened that he was so foolish, falling for the Purple Emperor Princess's scheme." The Purple Emperor Princess used luck to lure Silver Moon, harboring malicious intent. If not for this, Silver Moon capturing and killing the Purple Emperor Princess would have gained a merit. Coupled with the merit obtained from the first time, he would have had the qualification to impact the realm of sages. If the Cold Moon Sage had assisted him further, becoming a true sage was not impossible. Unfortunately, he was enchanted by the Purple Emperor Princess. A trace of chill spread in the Cold Moon Sage's eyes. Jiang Fan said, "If I meet the Purple Emperor Princess, I will seek justice for you." The Cold Moon Sage waved her hand. "No need, I will deal with her myself. You should not get entangled with her cause and effect." It seems the Cold Moon Sage had also heard of the Purple Emperor Princess's special identity, bearing significant cause and effect, unwilling to implicate Jiang Fan. After a pause, the Cold Moon Sage clasped her hand towards Jiang Fan. "I'm relieved to entrust the Moon Palace to you. Now, I will go to the source of evil for the sake of all in Central Earth, to ask the ancient great sages why they abandoned Central Earth." Jiang Fan's heart darkened, saying, "Must you go, Senior Cold Moon?" The Cold Moon Sage's gaze turned slightly cold. "I must seek a result for the sacrificed virtuous men and women of Central Earth in this war." The Central Earth sages looked solemn. They too wanted to know what had happened in the source of evil. Why have the ancient great sages, who once shed blood for Central Earth, now become so heartless and cold? If even one of them had returned from the Three Calamities realm, the battle situation would not have been so dire. Ancient Zen Buddha Venerate clasped his hands together, saying, "May the Buddha protect the Cold Moon Sage." The Golden Scale Venerate and others bid farewell with clasped hands. The Cold Moon Sage folded her fists, taking a last deep look at the Moon Venerate and then at Jiang Fan, seeming to want to plead for her but ultimately closing her mouth, leaving with a sigh. Lianjing happily stepped forward, saying, "Fanny, come back with Godmother, I'll make the food you like." Seeing Jiang Fan's current strength, her heart was full of gratification. However, Jiang Fan held Lianjing's hand, saying, "Godmother, I won't return to Central Earth. There are still many things waiting for me to do." The smile on Lianjing's face slowly faded with the wind, revealing a trace of loneliness. The young emperor was gone. Now Jiang Fan was leaving too, but she still composed herself, took out a jade talisman from her bosom with law chains faintly shimmering inside. "This is my law. When used, it can reflect a brand new you to face the enemy. Use it only when in danger, understand? Also, I heard you need a law to temper your body. Does this strand of law suit you?" She took out a stone sealed with a faint power of laws. Jiang Fan was deeply touched, realizing that his godmother had already prepared what he needed for his journey. After carefully feeling it, he realized that Lianjing's aura was weaker than those of her peers like Jinlin, the Mount Quinxing Master, and even the just broken through Moon Venerate. It must have been due to consuming a large amount of laws to refine the protective magical treasure. The threads in a loving mother's hand, the clothes on the traveling son's body. Densely sewn before the journey, fearing the return would be delayed. Jiang Fan accepted them with both hands and gave Lianjing a hug. "Thank you, Godmother." Lianjing's eyes brimmed with tears, saying, "Be careful outside, do not get into conflicts easily, understand?" Jiang Fan's nose turned slightly sore. These seemingly ordinary motherly reminders were the unattainable regrets for his younger self. Watching Lianjing's face full of love, Jiang Fan was extremely moved, his voice slightly choked. "I will return safely. Godmother, you go back to Central Earth first, the rest of you should go back too." The scene between the mother and son was deeply moving to everyone present. Jinlin, the Mount Quinxing Master, and the Moon Venerate each gave a strand of law power to Jiang Fan before silently bidding farewell and leaving. Lianjing reluctantly let go of Jiang Fan, her eyes filled with endless worry and admonition. "Come back early." 1,000 words condensed into a simple reminder. She turned away with pain, leaving with everyone. Jiang Fan blinked, vanishing the uncontrollable moisture in his eyes. "Moon Venerate, stay?" He regained his indifferent demeanor, casting his gaze toward the Moon Venerate's departing figure. The moon venerate's delicate body trembled slightly, turning around, maintaining a significant distance, cautiously asking, "What are your orders?" Jiang Fan extended his hand. "Give it to me." The moon venerate was slightly taken aback, then remembered something, quickly taking out a merit divine pearl missing a corner and tossed it over from a distance. "I didn't intentionally covet it, I truly forgot." Having experienced the entering sage, and witnessing Jiang Fan's sword cleaving the silver moon, she honestly forgot about the unused merit divine pearl. Seeing Jiang Fan take it, she hurriedly said, "If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave first." "Wait." Jiang Fan stepped through the void, walking towards her, eyes deep and compelling. "Let Xianxia out." The moon venerate's heart suddenly sank to the bottom. As a remnant soul from 1,000 years ago, her greatest value was in having ample cultivation experience. She could quickly cultivate this body back to the wise man realm. Now, having achieved the path of the sage, she was of no value to Jiang Fan. This call for Xianxia was likely to prepare to extinguish her soul, allowing Xianxia to completely take over this body. The moon venerate retreated, showing a hint of pleading. "Did not the ancient saint divine steel decree our relationship? Must you still kill me?" Jiang Fan approached step by step, his gaze cold. "Let her out." The moon venerate's heart sank further, her teeth biting her red lips. I agree to be your wife. Is that not enough?" Jiang Fan had already reached her, coldly saying, "I'll say it one last time, let her out." The moon venerate felt deep despair rising in her heart. Even after she completely submitted, would Jiang Fan still not spare her? She had a fleeting thought to resist, but lost courage when thinking of Silver Moon's death and disappearance. After much internal struggle, she stared resolutely at Jiang Fan. "Fine, I'll return everything to you. My consciousness shouldn't have awakened. It was you who noticed the abnormality of this body, making me awaken. Born by your hand, die by your sword. Cause and effect cycle. We are even." Her exquisitely beautiful and cold face revealed a lonely yet tragic beauty. As her beautiful eyes gradually closed, tears streamed down in 2 lines. Reopening them, the moon-like pupils were gone. The cold, ethereal demeanor like Chang also faded away, replaced by a lively and cheerful personality. "Husband!" Xianxia happily hugged Jiang Fan. Poof. Jiang Fan, caught off guard, suddenly felt intense pain in his body, nearly being suffocated to death in an instant. "Be gentle, you're a sage now." Xianxia only then realized, hurriedly releasing her grip, looking at her hands in surprise. I've entered the sage realm?" Jiang Fan had a mixed expression of laughter and tears. Both the green pearl and Xianxia nearly sent him off on the spot. After thinking for a moment, he suppressed his smile and took out a soul leaf left by Bingxin. With a trace of seriousness, he said, "Siling, I have to do something." Xianxia hurriedly looked over, and the moment her gaze landed on the soul leaf, she immediately felt the deep despair and sadness of the moon venerate from inside. Jiang Fan indeed had means to eliminate her, and he intended to use them. Xianxia solemnly said, "Husband, this leaf is..." Jiang Fan held the leaf and said, "It can completely rid you of the moon venerate." "What?" Xianxia was overjoyed and said, "It will separate me from the moon venerate." She had been waiting for this day for far too long. Who would want to share a body with someone else and not be free? Jiang Fan casually said, "No, it is to kill the moon venerate." The smile on Xianxia's face instantly froze and then faded away. She was shocked. You want to kill her?" Jiang Fan said, "This is the only solution I found." Xianxia's eyes were filled with struggle. She wanted to own the body alone, but to kill the moon venerate. After pondering for a long time, Xianxia shook her head and said, "Husband, spare her life. The moon venerate never intended to kill me, and as I journeyed across the continent, she secretly aided me. Please spare her life." Jiang Fan frowned. "Her existence is always a hidden danger to you. I think it's best to remove it." Xianxia hurriedly shook her head. "No, the moon venerate will not harm me. She just can't accept you as openly as I do. Give me some time, I will slowly persuade her. Please, husband, don't kill her." Jiang Fan held the soul leaf, silently sighed in his heart. I could guess it would be like this. Ever since he saw the ancient saint Divine Steel bestow the title of dual wife sage, he had predicted this scene. Jiang Fan said, "For the rest of your lives, you will have to share a body with the moon venerate. You won't regret it." Sensing Jiang Fan's concession, Xianxia smiled mischievously. "Let's talk about it once I regret it." Jiang Fan was silent for a long time before he helplessly said, "Let her come out." Xianxia nodded, her pupils slowly turned into the shape of a moon, her aura suddenly changed, regaining a cold and noble demeanor. But when she looked at the soul leaf in Jiang Fan's hand, she was filled with fear. Jiang Fan looked at her coldly. "On account of Chen Silin's plea, I will spare your soul." Upon hearing this, the previously despairing, beautiful face of the moon venerate suddenly brightened. "But from now on, the control of the body belongs to Chen Silin. Whenever she wishes to take control of the body, it will be her decision, you must not seize it. Otherwise, I will still destroy you." The moon venerate showed a joyful expression and quickly said, "All right, everything will follow Silin's wishes." After a pause, the moon venerate quietly glanced at Jiang Fan, hesitated as she bent slightly and solemnly bowed. With an unnatural tone, she said, Thank you, husband, for sparing my life." Previously, Jiang Fan always forced her to call him husband. Now it was her first time calling him husband voluntarily. Jiang Fan's gaze stayed indifferent. He snorted, "Consider yourself smart." Immediately, he waved his sleeve, and a jade talisman flew in front of her. The moon venerate caught it in surprise, and upon inspecting its contents, her expression changed. The insights of Moon Palace Legacy. The Moon Palace's supreme cultivation technique that she failed to fully comprehend in both lifetimes was now fully accessible before her. Her eyebrows showed happiness as she gladly accepted it, saying, "Thank you, husband." Just after speaking, she realized that calling him husband was becoming increasingly fluent. Her ears flushed, and awkwardly she turned her face aside. Jiang Fan then tossed over another jade scroll, saying, "Go to 10,000 Tribulation's holy temple and throw the jade talisman into the stone cone. Remember to stay away from the stone cone, leave quickly after doing it, don't get close to it." He didn't dare forget the agreement with the white-robed skeleton. This jade scroll has partial insights of the stone steel. Once the white-robed skeleton masters it, it can freely enter and leave Thunder God Heavenly Palace. Releasing such an old monster, really whether it's fortune or disaster, is unknown. The strange task left the moon venerate astonished in her heart, but she didn't think about it further. She hurriedly accepted it, saying, "Yes, husband, take care on your journey." After speaking, she returned leisurely to Central Earth. Thinking to herself, back on the continent, I adamantly refused to acknowledge Jiang Fan, a mere mortal, as my husband, insisting on returning to Moon Palace. In the end, after going round and round, I still accepted him as my husband. What was I fussing about? Wouldn't it be better to accept my fate earlier? After Jiang Fan finished giving instructions, he took out the Hell's Soul Bell and shook it. Ding, ding, ding. During the shaking, the big black dog's soul in the red area encountered a fiery burning. "Ow, ow, ow, stop shaking, master, stop shaking." In the void, a fragment of an abandoned continent floated, where the big black dog turned into a stream of light, running over barking incessantly. Jiang Fan then put away the Hell's Soul Bell and lightly snorted. "Dead dog, always hiding in the void, waiting for me to die to pick up scraps, is that it?" He had long sensed that when he was battling Silver Moon, this dead dog quietly left Central Earth, hiding silently on the sidelines, with no intention of helping Jiang Fan. Is there need to say what's on the mind of a dog like it? "Master, you wrong me, I am indeed your loyal dog. I hid in the dark to be ready to save you at any time. I swear to the heavens, if one word is false, I am no human." Smack. Jiang Fan slapped its dog head. "The tricks I've played, don't show them off like that." "Less nonsense, I now need to find the Great Wine Sacrifice location in Central Earth." The big black dog raised its paw, rubbed its head, and cursed secretly in its heart. "Little brat, you damn well wait for me, dog lord. The 100 realms of all heavens is not your Central Earth. There are countless interesting worlds. I'll find a chance to escape your control. Cry to dog lord later." On the surface, the big black dog compliantly said, all right, leave it to me." Its nose gave a strong sniff towards the surroundings, exclaiming, "Heavenly and earthly Wuji pursue thousands of miles." Then it suddenly looked in a direction. All three dog eyes squinted simultaneously. Deep apprehension filled the dog's eyes. Jiang Fan asked, "How is it?" The big black dog gathered the unusual color from its eyes and gleefully said, "Already found it. Just head east with my speed, I can arrive in half a month." Half a month. The big black dog was a demon of the second calamity realm. Although its speed in the void didn't reach the instantaneous movement in worlds, it was incredibly fast. A half-month, how vast a distance must that be? Still better to use the void feather robe, then it can be reached in several days. But before that, he must first enhance his strength. Immediately he mounted the dog. "Lead the way." With a light command, he then took out the power of laws gifted by everyone. At the celebration feast, several old sages sent 5 power of laws. Earlier, his godmother and 3 newly ascended sages sent 4 more. coupled with the one he refined from the chaotic ancient blood marquis. Precisely 10 powers of laws. According to the Heavenly Separation Sutra, 10 powers of laws for body tempering results in the 10 tribulations' golden appearance. Having a physique strong enough to rival the one calamity realm. With such a powerful body, he would be slightly safer in his search for the great wine sacrifice. Immediately, he took out a wisp of the power of laws and began body tempering silently. The big black dog moved its 4 legs in a paddling motion, turning into a black stream heading east. Little did they know. Soon after they departed, a beautiful woman dressed in yellow, carrying an ancient sword, appeared out of thin air. Her colorful eyes flickered with bright waves, smiling as she gazed in the direction Jiang Fan departed. Champion Marquis, the 10th saint of Central Earth, truly deserving the fame. A talent like you is wasted in Central Earth. Better follow me back to the Martial Vault instead. However, that black dog seems up to no good. The direction it leads to is one of the 10 fiend grounds in the void. After pondering briefly, just as the yellow-robed, beautiful woman was about to give chase, she suddenly sensed something and looked towards Central Earth. Her body instantly turned ethereal, becoming transparent sword chi, almost indistinguishable to the naked eye. Under her dazzling gaze, the barrier of the Central Earth world was opened, and an old woman in coarse sackcloth from head to toe walked out. Her hair was a dirty mix of black and gray, her head a tangled mess, her skin full of wrinkles, and her mouth filled with big yellow teeth. She exuded the foul stench of someone who hadn't bathed for days. She gazed in the direction of Jiang Fan, let out a hoarse laugh, and said, "Damn Jiang Fan, every cause must have its effect, and your retribution is me. I'm here to get you." Immediately, she opened her mouth and spat out an ancient bronze boat magic artifact, then jumped onto it and took out a Dacian divine coin, embedding it into a groove. At once, the bronze boat erupted with a terrifying humming, turning into a green rainbow and shooting off at incredible speed in pursuit. The yellow-robed, beautiful woman revealed herself, her delicate brows slightly furrowing. This old crone has quite the background. Even the Dacian Divine Kingdom's old void heavenly boat is in her possession. Does she have a grudge with the champion Marquis? As she pondered, a wave of foul body odor was carried over by the void's space power. The yellow-robed, beautiful woman's expression changed drastically. She quickly flicked her sleeve, sweeping away the various scents, and said with disgust, "Damn old hag, how many days have you gone without a bath?" After dispersing the smell, she used her power to repeatedly cleanse her body several times, driving away the lingering stench. Only then did she look unhappily in Jiang Fan's direction, tap her toes, and glide away gracefully. At the same time, Central Earth, returning ruins state, Star Mountain. The Mount Quinxing Master, her head full of silver hair, stood in the immortal mountain palace, facing the Shan Feng in silent contemplation. The gentle wind lifted her long hair and rustled the letter in her hand. On it were the elegant words written by Su Yining. "Master, I greet you through this letter as if we were meeting in person. Thank you, Master, for saving my life back then, and thank you for the care and guidance you gave me." Yining remembers it deeply. "In my life, I have had 2 masters. One is my sincere Li Qingfeng master, and the other is you. In the most difficult moments of my emotional life, Li Qingfeng master taught me to let go, while you granted me fulfillment. Unfortunately, this disciple is useless. I can neither let go in my heart nor muster the courage to face Jiang Fan. But this disciple has already found her own path. I want to go to a broader world and see what lies at the end of that road. Whether I succeed or not, this disciple will probably never return. The kindness of Master I can only repay in the next life. Forgive my departure without farewell. In the years when I am not by your side, may Master remain forever young, safe, and well. And may Master soon find a life partner so you will not be alone. This is my formal farewell. Yining, kowtows, and signs." The Mount Quinxing Master remained silent. Looking at the boundless cloud sea, a trace of bitterness curled at the corner of her lips, and she sighed softly. "You all will regret it." Taikeng State, South Sea. On an island hanging alone over the deep sea, countless flowers were blooming in radiant profusion. Spring peach blossoms, summer green lotuses, autumn golden chrysanthemums, winter snow plums. The flowers that should bloom in separate seasons throughout the year on Earth were all blooming at the same time, competing in fragrance and splendor. Their intoxicating fragrance and brilliance made the island vibrant with life. Only on both sides of the long stone steps leading to the peak of the island, a pot after pot of tightly closed epiphyllum buds seemed completely out of place. In front of one epiphyllum, a tall, slender old woman in a teal long dress with a head full of silver hair, was squatting. Her shriveled, slender fingers were holding a small jade bottle, pouring spiritual liquid brimming with the aura of life into the pot. But the epiphyllum still remained unmoved. It stubbornly refused to bloom. She sighed softly, her voice gentle yet aged. All the other flowers have bloomed. Why is it that only you refuse to open? Are you waiting for someone? 2.5 days later. On the big black dog's back, Jiang Fan's entire body was crimson, like an iron man freshly taken out of a blazing furnace. He radiated terrifying heat, with great plumes of white vapor hissing as they evaporated. The big black dog turned its head to look and clicked its tongue repeatedly. This guy is a bastard, but he's really cruel to himself. Using the power of laws to forcibly temper his physique, he's literally asking for abuse. The big black dog had witnessed Jiang Fan's cultivation the whole way. This so-called body tempering was using the power of laws to destroy the flesh inch by inch, then letting a brand new body regenerate. Then destroy it again, then let it be reborn again. Repeating this over and over, until not even a trace of the power of laws could destroy his body anymore. The big black dog's bones ached just from watching. Even if you put the most fragrant poop in the world in front of it, it would never cultivate such a terrifying cultivation technique. Still, this cultivation technique is really something. After just over 2 days of tempering, his physique has already reached the level of the heavenly human 5 declines. If he keeps training like this, won't he break through the divine tribulation of divinity transformation and sage, and attain the physique of a sage? As it was pondering, Jiang Fan's body gradually cooled down. His eyes suddenly snapped open, his gaze almost material, making the void ahead of him tremble slightly. He clenched his fists, and an incomparably powerful physical power surged through his flesh and blood. So the heavenly human 5 declines is already this strong. Jiang Fan's eyes were filled with delight. Though the body refinement process had been hell-level torture, the benefits were absolutely real. The only drawback was that his physique was still too weak, so the tempering speed was too slow. The first time he used laws to refine his body, it took him 3 days. Now, even with the foundation of a heavenly person 4 declines physique, 1 round of tempering still took 2.5 days. And he still needed to use the void feather robe to hurry on his way and go looking for the great wine sacrifice. He had no time to spend more days on body refinement. Patting the big black dog's head, Jiang Fan said, "Stop. From here on you handle the directions, I'll handle the speed." The big black dog quickly stopped. It couldn't wait for Jiang Fan to get there sooner. Jiang Fan took out the void feather robe and put it on, and just as he was about to activate it, the moon realm fragment in his arms rang for the first time in a long while. Huh, who's sending a message? Jiang Fan took out the moon realm fragment and found that a long-absent member had appeared. "Flowers in bloom, everyone, I'm here to keep my promise and come sponsor our Take a Good Name." Immediately, 2 lines of messages popped up. "Death Diary, why give him a freebie? Never ruin the mood, no way you're really a rich lady. Could you consider me? I can lick." Black lines appeared across Jiang Fan's forehead. That Flowers in Bloom actually still remembered his real self offline. He just made a joke back then about wanting to be kept, and she actually came. Good thing he had already left Central Earth, otherwise this would be seriously awkward. He casually replied in the moon realm, "Take a good name, you're welcome to come, if you can find me. Flowers in bloom, you said it." Jiang Fan had just read this message when a roaring suddenly exploded beside him. A green rainbow slashed through the dark void, stirring up 10,000 fathoms of chaotic void turbulence that surged toward them. The big black dog braced all 4 limbs firmly, barely managing not to be swept away. Jiang Fan and the big black dog looked up. In front of them, an ancient bronze boat was blocking their path. On the bronze boat stood an old crone leaning on a cane, grinning widely at Jiang Fan. The big black dog widened its 3 eyes and was startled by her scruffy, elderly appearance and smiling face, causing every hair on its body to stand on end, and it spat curses. "You dead old hag here in the great void, is it your style to scare people pretending to be a ghost?" The old woman croaked a laugh and said, "I am here to find Jiang Fan." Jiang Fan stared directly at her, swallowed hard, and raised the moon realm fragment in his hand. You just cannot tell me that you are flowers in bloom." The old woman chuckled merrily, and under Jiang Fan's awestruck gaze, she took out a moon realm fragment, and very skillfully began writing on it. "Flowers in bloom. Folks, I have met Pick a Good Name offline already. He's such a young, handsome lad. This old lady is truly smitten." Beep, beep, beep. The moon realm echoed instantly. Death diary, old lady. Are you an old hag? Never dampen the spirit. Shut up. Don't go slandering my sister Fugui. In my heart, Sister Fugui is forever a treasure of 18. Flowers in bloom. Heh, not old, just the appearance of 80 or 90 years of age. Never dampen the spirit. Sorry, can't deal with it, out of my comfort zone. Pick a good name. Do not worry, lights off and they're all the same. Death diary. 80 or 90 years old. Ha-ha-ha-ha. Ha-ha-ha-ha. Karma, you finally got your due today. Jiang Fan was too busy to care about the collective mockery in the moon realm. His face had gone dark. Bowing, he said, "My virtual moon realm friend, it is an honor to meet face to face. Where are you headed to? Why are you in the void too?" The old woman, also known as the Ice Heart Venerate, or to be precise, should be called Bingxin Sage. She was recently the 5th person to attain sage status in Central Earth. Once she was ready, she eagerly came to meet the real Jiang Fan offline. Watching Jiang Fan's defeated expression, couldn't describe the joy she felt, secretly enjoying the laughter. Bastard, you still wearing wild belly band. Still using divine wood to hit my head. Still rescuing others first, only intervening after I was nearly beaten to death. You have your day now. Humph, 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 this is not the end. With a mouth full of crooked yellow teeth, she laughed, saying, "Of course I'm here to find you. I'm always responsive to requests. Since you asked to be pampered by me in the moon realm, I shall fulfill your wish." Saying this, her body suddenly became transparent. Jiang Fan's heart thudded. Damn, flowers in bloom is also a sage. No way, where in Central Earth there's such an old female sage. Even if recently broke through, have never heard about her. Before he could react, a stench wafted, followed by a grip on his right arm, held tightly by the old woman who materialized. The old woman in coarse linen clothes, half her body leaning against his. That old face full of wrinkles, filled with dirt, emitting a stench, puckering up ready for a kiss. Pick a good name. You look so handsome, this old lady really likes you. Geez. Jiang Fan just felt his stomach churn, goosebumps rose all over. He tried to break free but hugged by a close-range sage. How could he escape? He rarely panicked, urgently shouted, "Bloody dog, why not help?" The big black dog wished Jiang Fan would suffocate to death, calmly said, "Master, you agreed to it yourself. Go through with it even if shedding tears." Damn it. Jiang Fan did not bother with the big black dog, hurriedly held his hand near his face, hastily said, Senior, let's discuss properly. We're reasonable people, no need for kissing." Moi. Bingxin laughed heartily, ignored the plea, insistently planted kisses on Jiang Fan's palm. Jiang Fan felt disgusted, wished he could chop off his hand. Seeing the old woman's lips about to touch, he quickly activated the Dacian divine power within. Champion Marquis banner unfurled, overwhelming pressure came crashing from above. Bingxin, forced under the press to let go of Jiang Fan, retreated a step, bowed slightly, grudgingly said, "Greetings, Champion Marquis." Taking the chance, Jiang Fan clamped the big black dog between his legs. Void feather robe suddenly glowed brightly, unleashed an invincible speed nearing 3 calamities realm, vanished immediately. Bingxin stood up straight, watched Jiang Fan's awkward fleeing silhouette, couldn't hold it in anymore, laughed, bending over clutching her stomach. "Ha-ha-ha, Jiang Fan, didn't expect, did you? The one to subdue you has arrived. But not ending so easily. I must make today your nightmare, make you remember me flowers in bloom for life." Instantly jumped on Void heavenly boat, pushing it to the maximum, chased Jiang Fan fiercely. Jiang Fan up ahead, his face couldn't be darker. "Is this a joke on me? The holder of the 6th moon realm fragment is an old woman." He felt heaven's filled malice towards him. Used to think flowers in bloom as a person of esteemed status and noble temperament from her words and actions. Never expected it, turned out to be an old woman. Where did it go wrong? After several teleports, holy power within Void feather robe depleted, unable to maintain instantaneous movement. Yet had no clue if flowers in bloom caught up. Suddenly, a bright idea flashed in his mind. He took out the Moon Palace Master token. Old Palace Master mentioned he used the Master token, observed Jiang Fan through moon realm fragments. However, needed the full moon each month to activate. Having cultivated moonlight power, Jiang Fan realized this explanation was just an excuse. Full moon's significance was negligible. What mattered was sufficient moonlight power. Just full moon when moonlight power stronger in nature. Old Palace Master more easily probed the other side of moon realm fragments. Now Jiang Fan also cultivated moonlight power, could attempt inspecting moon realm fragments, locating flowers in bloom, current condition. Meanwhile, could also check Liu Qingxian, Xia Caode, and Qingjiu's condition. Earlier, the three hadn't replied to Moon Realm messages. Activated a sliver of holy blood lineage inside Heavenly Abyss Heart. Suddenly, powerful holy power continuously fed into Void Feather Robe. Again teleported, journeying while activating the Master Token. Vast moonlight power poured into blue circular token. Token gradually glimmers brightly. Soon displayed 7 scenes. Among 2 scenes shrouded in strong holy light, unable to discern what's inside. Presumably Xianxia's. Returned to northern heavenly state, seemed lost some freedom, unable to use Moon Realm freely. Another scene filled with intense sword chi, vaguely saw a lady in purple dress fiercely sparring swordsmanship. Seemingly Liu Qingxian. Seeing her unharmed, Jiang Fan relaxed somewhat. Next noticed Gu Zinner and Red Demon Venerable, racing in dark void. Also spotted Liang Feiyan smiling, holding Moon Realm fragments showing Ren Guheng, Wang Chongling and Chayu together, all faces beaming. This gang of rascals. Jiang Fan cursed inwardly, saw Qingjiu also racing in void, likely heading to Sumeru Divine Prison. However, seemed there's someone else nearby. Finally, damn old woman, flowers in bloom. Jiang Fan's lip twitched, flowers in bloom piloting bizarre bronze boat, chasing fervently his direction. Wouldn't leave without kissing. Jiang Fan's face completely dark. About to stow token, focus on fleeing. Suddenly some anomaly in flowers in bloom seen. Flowers in bloom chest ignited radiant ice light, an ice crystal pendant hung around chest emerged. Then ice light enveloped her whole body. Her coarse linen clothes, disheveled hair, grime-filled wrinkled old face, fragmented into ice pieces. Revealed a youthful radiant smiling face, fair-skinned, elegant appearance full of youthful vigor. Jiang Fan abruptly halted, eyes round in shock. Bingxin. In the scene, Bingxin also noticed that her ice crystal pendant had lost its effect and hurriedly infused the ice law into the pendant again. The pendant reactivated, once again emitting an icy glow, disguising her as an old lady. Hee, Jiang Fan, here comes the old lady. Watching the whole process through the palace master token, Jiang Fan was trembling all over. Crunch! He clenched the token with his 5 fingers, making it creak in his grasp. Since arriving in Lonely Boat City, he had never been so embarrassed. Not even when facing the strongest of enemies for which he had some countermeasures. Never did he expect to fall at the hands of this simple-minded little girl, Bingxin. He wiped his face deeply, saying viciously, "The hunter becomes the hunted. Bingxin, of all people you chose to mess with me? Flowers in bloom, is it? Old lady, right? I'll let you have your way." Recalling the flustered state in which Bingxin teased him earlier, flames seemed to burst from his eyes. Looking back at Bingxin's direction, he suppressed his holy power, pretending to be exhausted and unable to continue escaping, and began to glide slowly in a pretense. Not long after, a roaring sound erupted from behind, and Bingxin maneuvered the bronze boat to stop in front of him. She leaned on her cane, smiling broadly, saying, "Run, why aren't you running? Is it because you can't move? Do you want me to help?" She was so pleased now, Jiang Fan couldn't outplay or outrun her. "Ha ha ha," Jiang Fan with a dark face said. "Flowers in bloom, what will it take for you to let me go?" Bingxin, showing her big yellow teeth, said, "What are you saying? Didn't you say you wanted to lie flat in the Moon Realm? Come on, let this old body give you a kiss. From now on, my things are all yours." As she said this, her figure blurred once more. Jiang Fan's expression changed, and he attempted to run with the big black dog, but an arm hooked around his neck. Bingxin's wrinkled and filthy old face was right in front of him. Her mouth emitted a foul odor, and she laughed slyly. "Ah, just close your eyes, what are you afraid of?" Before the words even left her mouth, an old mouth approached for a kiss. She expected Jiang Fan to dodge and use his hand to block her mouth again. However, to Bingxin's surprise, Jiang Fan neither dodged nor blocked her but lowered his head and kissed her back. The soft and burning sensation left Bingxin stunned, her mind momentarily blank. Wait, Jiang Fan. How is he not playing by the rules? She hastily withdrew her mouth, but Jiang Fan chased after her, deeply kissing her lips. Bingxin, panicked, pushed him away, staggering backward repeatedly. She covered her slightly swollen lips and said in panic, "What? What are you doing?" Her first kiss was gone just like that. Moreover, Jiang Fan had bitten her lip hard. If she hadn't broken through to the virtuous realm with her strong physique, her lip might have been bitten through. Jiang Fan wiped his mouth, walking towards her with a smile. "I've made up my mind I don't want to try hard anymore. Sister Fu Gui, from today onwards I'm yours. 3 meals a day, full and satisfying. How about it?" Bingxin was dumbfounded. No, this wasn't how the script was supposed to go. Seeing Jiang Fan approaching step by step, Bingxin, a little afraid, shrank back. Don't you mind that I'm old? I'm already 80 or 90 years old. Jiang Fan stepped forward, lifted her chin, and said, I won't let you say you're old. In my heart, you'll always be my 18-year-old sweetheart. Hiss. This time it was Bingxin's turn to get goosebumps all over her body. She rubbed her arms, her teeth aching, saying, Jiang Fan, aren't you picky? Jiang Fan wrapped an arm around her waist, pulling her into his embrace, saying, It was love at first sight with you. Can't wait to be taken care of by you. Come on, don't waste time. A spring night is worth 1,000 gold. Saying this, he pulled away the sash from her waist, his hand exploring into her embrace. As soon as he touched the soft, true white, Bingxin bounced away, her old face flushed with embarrassment, her heart pounding wildly. You shameless lecher! Jiang Fan laughed. Dead girl, now you know what fear is, he said cheerfully. Sister Fugui, you came from miles away to find me, hugging and kissing me. Now that I'm willing, why are you backing out? Bingxin slightly bit her lip, not understanding why things turned out this way. Not only did Jiang Fan not get angry, but she also lost her first kiss and got touched by true white. She glared at Jiang Fan in anger. Just wait, I won't let you off. She turned, jumped onto the bronze boat, and urged it forward to escape. Jiang Fan snorted. Want to tease her and leave just like that? Things aren't that easy. He raised a hand and a void fishing rod appeared, the fish hook instantly latching onto the bronze boat. Bingxin was taken aback. The void fishing rod that had once fished away her stomach wrap, how could she not recognize it? Her expression changed immediately, pressing down on the bronze boat. The power of the sage ultimately couldn't contend with the top-grade spiritual artifact, and the fish hook didn't manage to drag it back. Bingxin took this opportunity, tore off the fish hook, and maneuvered the bronze boat into a green streak, darting away. She had just run a short distance, turned around, and started laughing playfully. HMPH, you want to steal my bronze boat? I'm no longer the Bingxin of the past, blah, blah, blah. She made a face, plunging into the depths of the void, pondering. The reason I failed is that Jiang Fan has such a good appetite, he can swallow even this. I should adopt a different identity and try again. Perhaps disguise myself as Gu Zinner. I just can't believe he'd still have the appetite. But just as she was planning where to change her identity, a golden light suddenly flashed across her chest. It was the void fish hook swinging over once again. Bingxin instinctively thought that the fish hook aimed to latch onto the bronze boat, hurriedly squatting to hold down the bronze boat. Unexpectedly, the fish hook feigned a move, sweeping past her chest. The disguise on Bingxin's body turned into ice-light fragments and fell away. She looked down to find that her ice crystal pendant was gone. Ah, Jiang Fan, you fished away my disguise magical treasure, Bingxin exclaimed. She wanted to turn back to retrieve it but reconsidered, realizing she'd expose her true form. No, I can't let this guy know that I'm flowers in bloom. Otherwise, he'll ridicule me for a whole year. However, after all this, she lost her first kiss, got touched by true white, and had her magical treasure snatched away. The more she thought about it, the more she felt shortchanged, stamping her little foot in anger. I won't let this go. But my ice crystal pendant is gone. How am I supposed to play with him again? Ah, yes, the ice crystal pendant comes from the ice realm. I can just go to the ice realm to get another one. Right, HMPH, Stinky Jiang Fan, you enjoy your moment of triumph for now. Sooner or later, I'll get my revenge with interest, remember, with interest. With these words, she turned the bronze boat, speeding off towards the ice realm. Jiang Fan watched the figure of Bingxin storming off inside the token, the corner of his mouth lifting in a faint smile. You little brat, trying to fight me? Whoosh, the ice crystal pendant was reeled back by the fishing hook. He grabbed it, checked it carefully, and couldn't help being surprised. A quasi-realm artifact. No way, where did this damn girl get something like this? Isn't she just an ordinary great venerate? Wait a sec. Jiang Fan suddenly remembered Bingxin might not be that simple. He still recalled that during the grand final battle, the compassionate sage looked down on the other great venerates from on high. Yet his attitude toward Bingxin was noticeably more relaxed. Vaguely, there was even a hint of dread. And then the Usura Saint's son also seemed quite fixated on Bingxin. Plus, with just the merit from those two great battles, Bingxin shouldn't have been enough to entering sage, yet she mysteriously became a sage. Touching his chin, Jiang Fan muttered, "This damn girl! Could she actually have some big background? I'm looking forward to her coming to find me again. Next time I'll keep exploding her gear." Putting away the ice crystal pendant that could grant invisibility, Jiang Fan reconfirmed his position, tucked the big black dog under his arm, and activated the void feather robe to flash forward. Bang, however. Clearly, he should have been able to instantaneous movement to somewhere far away, but it was like he slammed into an invisible barrier and was blocked about 1,000 feet out. Jiang Fan's expression changed abruptly. He lowered his head to look at the big black dog. "What's going on?" The big black dog sniffed, wariness rising in its eyes. "Fragrance, a woman's fragrance. There's someone else nearby." He decisively changed direction, once again instantaneous movement with the void feather robe. But again, he was blocked by some unknown thing 1,000 feet away. Next, he tried breaking out in several directions in a row and got the same result every time. Up above, down below, in all 4 directions, everywhere was blocked by something invisible. "Who's there?" Jiang Fan called out lowly. As his voice fell, his shoulder suddenly sank slightly. A jade-white hand came to rest on his shoulder. Jiang Fan's pupils contracted violently. Who could appear right behind him without the big black dog reacting at all? Almost without thinking, Jiang Fan instinctively summoned the evil sword and stabbed backward. A clear ding rang out. The evil sword sounded like it had struck metal, emitting a cold yet crisp impact. A voice like silver bells, laced with amused playfulness, drifted into his ear. "Your reaction's pretty quick." Jiang Fan's soul practically flew out of his body. He twisted his head around and saw a middle-aged beauty with horsefall sideburns, face like a silver platter and striking features, standing ghost-like behind him. One hand rested on Jiang Fan's shoulder, while with the other she extended her middle and index fingers, lightly pinching the evil sword. The evil sword, a quasi-realm artifact, let out a strained buzzing between her 2 fingers, as if it couldn't bear the pressure. Jiang Fan's expression shifted sharply, and he immediately activated the evil sword's trait. Thick, longer. However, pinched between her 2 fingers, the evil sword behaved itself completely, utterly unable to grow. Jiang Fan barked in a low voice, "You damn dog, bite her!" The big black dog beneath him was also startled by the sudden appearance of the middle-aged beauty, and it opened its jaws to bite at her thigh. However, the big black dog, a 2 calamities realm beast, bit down like it was clamping onto an iron plate. Its entire mouthful of dog teeth almost shattered. "Ow, my teeth!" The yellow-robed beauty lowered her head to look at the big black dog. The half-smiling expression on her face vanished, replaced by deep disgust. "Scram, you shit-eating mutt!" She didn't seem to move at all. She just opened her mouth and a law descended. The big black dog was struck like by lightning, and in a flash was blasted backward, slamming into the invisible barrier. The barrier rippled, as if a curtain had been pulled back, revealing its true form. It was actually one ancient sword after another spanning the sky, arranged side by side into a gigantic sword array, with massive swords pressing down from above and below as well. They were trapped inside a colossal sword array. Jiang Fan's heart shook. All these swords were top-grade spirit swords. There were over 90 of them. Kiki had scoured the starry skies for top-grade spirit swords and only managed to find 2 or 3. Yet this woman alone controlled over 90 top-grade spirit swords. Just what was her background? Jiang Fan tried to break free from the woman's hand, only to discover the power within his body was suppressed so thoroughly he couldn't mobilize a single strand. He was like a mortal. His heart trembled inwardly. Someone who could blast the big black dog away with a single word and so easily suppress him. There was no need to say what kind of existence she was. 3 Calamities Realm. A 3 Calamities Realm expert who had mastered the Supreme Sword Tao. He said in a deep voice, "Senior, please let go of me, or else I'll call for help." The yellow-robed beauty looked at Jiang Fan again, amusement once more spilling into her smile. "Go ahead and shout. Even if you scream your throat raw, no one's going to answer. I've tailed you for 3 days and only made a move after confirming you were far from Central Earth. Right now, there's no one who can help you." Jiang Fan's heart sank quietly. She'd come specifically for him and was fully prepared. His mind spun rapidly, wondering if he should release Linglong and play a game of using a tiger to drive off wolves. Then he thought it through and crushed that idea. Given how much Linglong hated him, this wouldn't be using a tiger to scare off wolves. It would be wolves in front, tiger in back. The 2 of them would most likely go for a tag-team beatdown on him. Jiang Fan's eyes turned and he said, "I don't know what business Senior has in seeking out this junior. If there's anywhere this junior can be of service, I will certainly not refuse. I just ask Senior to release me first." The yellow-robed beauty pressed her lips into a smile. "Release you? You've got way too many tricks, even I might let you slip away." With that, she casually drew the evil sword from Jiang Fan's hand. She played with it in her palm for a moment, then praised, "A fine sword that can grow stronger. Sadly, its potential has reached its limit. If you're willing to come to my martial vault, I can figure out a way to re-nourish this sword, let it gain the potential to charge toward becoming a world artifact." Martial vault. Jiang Fan looked at the woman in shock and doubt. Was this woman from the martial vault where Liu Qingxian resided? And judging from her intent, she didn't seem to harbor any major malice. He relaxed slightly, his mind starting to turn again, and cupped his hands. The martial vault is one of the 4 great worlds. If I can join the martial vault, it would be my honor. However, this junior is currently headed somewhere on urgent business. Once that's settled, I'll immediately follow senior to the martial vault. If the great wine sacrifice and the chaotic ancient blood marquis were still locked in a stalemate, he could just take advantage of this woman. But the yellow-robed beauty chuckled, shoved the evil sword back into Jiang Fan's hand, and said, "Heh, your eyes are telling me you're trying to use me." Damn it, Jiang Fan shivered inwardly. These 3 calamities realm old monsters, not a single one was easy to calculate against. All his little schemes were laid bare before her eyes. "Put away your little schemes and follow me obediently." The yellow-robed beauty once again placed her hand on Jiang Fan's shoulder, saying, "First, come with me to Nankian and finish a task. Afterward, I'll take you back to the martial vault. If you behave, it's not impossible that I'll personally accept you as my disciple." Jiang Fan was anxious inside. The great wine sacrifice's life or death was unknown at this moment. How could he afford to waste time elsewhere? Yet this 3 calamities realm old woman clearly had no intention of letting him go, and he had absolutely no power to resist in her hands. What should he do? Just then, the yellow-robed beauty suddenly wrinkled her nose, her hand reflexively lifted off Jiang Fan as she stepped back a few paces, staring at him in disgust. "What's that smell on you?" Huh, Jiang Fan was taken aback. What kind of smell could he have? He raised his arm and sniffed. Only then did he catch a whiff of the lingering foul odor of Bingxin disguised as an old lady. Bingxin had hugged his arm, leaving behind a scent. But it really wasn't that noticeable, was it? You wouldn't smell it unless you sniffed closely, yet the yellow-robed lady's reaction was a bit excessive. "I remember now, it's that old lady's." In the yellow-robed lady's mind resurfaced the image of that toothless old lady who hadn't bathed for days, making her feel disgusted. She raised her hand and unleashed a terrifying sword chi, forming a rain of swords that washed over Jiang Fan's entire body. Not only did it remove the lingering stench, but it also cleaned Jiang Fan's surface thoroughly. He was washed completely clean in one go. Jiang Fan was speechless for a moment, wondering if this old woman had a cleanliness fetish. Thinking of how she detested the big black dog, he became more convinced of his suspicion. Cleanliness fetish, cleanliness fetish. Suddenly, a glint of cunning flashed in Jiang Fan's eyes. Got it. A way to get rid of this old woman. The yellow-robed lady sized up the refreshed Jiang Fan with a satisfied look on her face and said, "Clean now? Come with me." She stepped forward again, placing one hand on Jiang Fan's shoulder and gesturing lightly with the other. Clang, 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 the sword array that filled the sky transformed into beams of sword light, returning to the sword scabbard on her back. Turns out it wasn't just a single sword on her back, but a sword box space holding vast power within. Jiang Fan's eyes rolled slightly and he said, "Senior, you don't have to capture me anymore. How about I take off the void feather robe and temporarily hand it to you for safekeeping?" The yellow-robed lady thought for a moment and nodded in agreement. The void feather robe was essential for Jiang Fan's instantaneous movement. Without it, it would be difficult for him to escape her grasp. Soon, the warm void feather robe was in the yellow-robed lady's hand. She displayed a hint of surprise. "You do have some ability. The Angel Clan's void feather robe is a treasure of the Angel Nobles. It almost never circulates to the outside world, yet you managed to get one." Jiang Fan chuckled. "I got it by chance. Can you trust me now, senior?" His mind subtly scanned the heavenly thunder stone, glancing at the 3 unused void feather robes, feeling a bit more at ease. The yellow-robed lady released her grip, gathering sword light under her feet. She sat cross-legged and said, "Sit down." Jiang Fan nodded and looked at the distant big black dog, saying, "What about my pet?" The yellow-robed lady frowned, saying, "Put it away for now. Don't let it out. Seeing it nauseates me." Jiang Fan immediately took out the space mirror and called the injured big black dog into it. Then he sat obediently behind the yellow-robed lady, his eyes constantly darting. In his mind, he was brewing various plans to escape. The yellow-robed lady initiated sword shadows, swiftly moving in the opposite direction, gently shaking her head in her mind. It's so easy to handle that this champion marquis is a bit disappointing. Perhaps he received the title of champion marquis because he was the first to restore the dark world and was given special treatment. She had anticipated that Jiang Fan would display a series of tactics to resist her, even making it somewhat difficult for her to capture him. But none of that happened. The impression of the champion marquis, who had been proclaimed across all heavens, was far different from what she imagined. Oh well, take him back and decide later. Even if he's not talented, he still makes a good gimmick. Slightly disinterested, she said without looking back, "It will take some time to reach the southern heavenly realm. Continue refining your physique." All along, she had secretly tracked and observed Jiang Fan's cultivation. That cultivation technique of his was quite remarkable. Jiang Fan was busy planning his escape and couldn't focus on cultivation, so he casually dismissed. The perfect body refining method is rather time-consuming. It's better to wait until I have a chance to go into seclusion. The yellow-robed lady glanced back at Jiang Fan and thought for a moment. With a clang from the sword scabbard on her back, a top-grade spirit sword, silver-white and surrounded by the virtual shadow of a long river, flew out. As soon as it appeared, Jiang Fan noticed the sound of the wind around him had slowed significantly. Even the meteoric dust that should have passed by quickly was now moving incredibly slowly. "The time law!" Jiang Fan exclaimed in surprise. The yellow-robed lady calmly said, "This is the time sword, forged from the spine of a great sage of time, naturally containing the time law. Before we reach Nankian, it's yours." Jiang Fan was secretly astonished. Being in the Three Calamities realm indeed made a difference. Any sword from her 90-plus collection was extraordinary. He took the time sword in both hands and immediately noticed that time in his vicinity was 3 times faster than the outside, though it wasn't like the space-time hourglass, which could speed up time for a person by 10 times. However, this was a sword that could continually emit the time law, far superior to the consumable space-time hourglass. With this sword in the future, his speed in refining his physique would significantly increase. As for returning it to the yellow-robed lady, why return a wild sword? He placed the time sword across his knees, his mind racing quickly. Having dealt with the Heaven Burial Saint beast before, he knew too well the terrors of the Three Calamities realm. With just a glance, she could destroy his physical form. So he only had one chance, and he had to ensure the yellow-robed lady couldn't pay attention to him. A single step off would ruin everything. If he failed, his fate would be to be thoroughly imprisoned, with no hope of rescuing the great wine sacrifice. He rapidly thought through various details to ensure nothing would go wrong. A good half a cup of tea later, he pretended to take a deep breath, adjusting his state, and said, "Senior, I'll start cultivating now. If I disturb you, please forgive me." The yellow-robed lady nodded lightly with her eyes closed, soon sensing Jiang Fan opening the life space pocket. Wait, why the life space pocket? She abruptly opened her bright eyes, looking behind her. Her terrifying gaze carried the power to destroy the heavens and the earth, enough to deter any actions by Jiang Fan. However, a fierce aura, causing her complexion to change drastically, rushed at her face. That aura was filled with extreme bloodlust and brutality, seeming to originate from an ancient era with a mysterious pressure faintly pervading it. More terrifyingly, that presence had the aura of the Three Calamities realm. Her gaze was nothing against it. Even the sword shadow beneath her feet shattered the instant it appeared. Upon seeing it clearly, it turned out to be a fierce beast with a dragon's head, covered in black scales, emanating an overwhelming ferocity. "Heaven Burial Saint Beast!" The yellow-robed lady was startled, her heart pounding wildly, instinctively ready to draw her sword against the enemy. But she quickly realized something was off. The Heaven Burial Saint Beast's aura fluctuated, indicating it was injured. Moreover, after it appeared, it just stood there proudly, with no intention of attacking anyone. After all, being in the Three Calamities realm, the yellow-robed lady quickly calmed down, her gaze sharply focused on Jiang Fan riding its back. "You clever boy, trying to use the Heaven Burial Saint Beast against me. Unfortunately, your rank isn't high enough to command it." Jiang Fan smiled slightly, taking out a black bell, and said, "Who said I was going to use it against you? Prepare to receive the grand gift I've prepared for you."